derivative deal.
There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone. Hello, and welcome to Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations number 139.
Wow.
Yeah, there's so many. I don't know what I if I should break these up into seasons or what I should be doing, but or if I should make a new title. But in any case, whatever I decide to do with the podcast name, we are exploring all of the Twilight Zone. And today we're taking a closer look at The Four of Us Are Dying and Third from the Sun. And I'd like to welcome today our panelists. I'd like to say hello to Stone Racket. How are you?
Just fine and dandy. How are you?
Very good. Oh, I'm doing all right. I had my coffee
Uh-huh.
and I got
It's
my notes.
it's Terrific Tuesday
Terrific Tuesday. Right.
or Twilight Zone Tuesday, if you prefer.
Tremendous Tuesday.
Tremendous Tuesday.
Our Tiger Stripes Tuesday. Hello and
Yeah.
welcome to Tiger Stripes.
Good morning.
Hi, Tiger Stripes.
Hey,
Jill took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say Tiger Stripes Tuesday.
That happens a lot where you say something and I don't have to say anything because you said everything I was going to say.
And vice versa.
Yeah. So yes, and hello to Matt G. He's there saying "Tau, Tau, Tau," and that is the one of the emojis and also the badges. If you remember, that's also
Yes,
his
indeed.
current badge is a Tau.
Uh-huh.
Penny.
Penny.
Penny's giving hugs. Y'all, grandma duties, hands full
That sounds like
baby.
fun.
Yay. Yes. And she's listening. Glad you're here, Penny. And we're going to talk about these two episodes. Got to bring up the slides. I made those today.
Your excellent sides.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
They're very helpful. And of course, we always have Eric's protecting us for copyright reasons.
Yeah, and this time he's monochrome.
Yes, in monochrome. Yes, I made a monochrome. Because then I realized it was kind of weird to have everything black and white, but then there's yellow and all these colors on top of it. So I fixed that. So the first episode we're talking about today is The Four of Us Are Dying. It first aired on January 1st, 1960. So we're officially in the 60s with the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, New Year's Day. And the last one aired exactly on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
59. So that's so funny.
Yeah, they have 2 holiday specials. What a bonus.
Yeah, this is a rather grim one to usher in the new year.
Well, at least I guess it's in New York because it says Manhattan over there, doesn't it? Storage.
Good eye.
Thanks. This episode was directed by John Bram. The story credit goes to George Clayton Johnson with the teleplay by Rod Serling.
I noticed that in the credits that it only said George Johnson. And I have a little note here. George Clayton Johnson?
Oh, yeah. George
Clayton Johnson. Yeah. Yes. And the music. Who does the music?
Jerry Goldsmith.
Yes. That's exciting to see.
Yeah. Great score. He's just a genius.
Yes, of course. Of course, we're excited because he is prominent composer for Star Trek.
Oh yes,
And
and
lots of other things.
oh, lots of other things. Planet of the Apes, Patton. Um, what else? uh,
That's
oh,
fine.
nothing's coming to mind right off the bat. Those are, but I know there's so many other scores.
I'm sure I'll recognize it when I see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's did a lot of great television work as well as motion picture soundtracks, and he's
Well,
got a
he
really.
says he
Oh, go ahead.
he composed the current that what's being used for the current fanfare for the Universal Pictures logo,
Yeah,
which is very very memorable.
Oh
and
yeah, that's right.
and
Has a
he
lot
has
of pomp.
he has a really brilliant score coming up for the Twilight Zone episode Back There, which is used a lot. Even uh, the Fugitive with David Jansen, the series used a lot of the music from that particular soundtrack for the episode Back There, and then he has a really good score for the Grim Reaper episode of Boris Karloff's Thriller, which stars Natalie Schaefer and William Shatner.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Hmm. Very cool. Yeah, he's very talented. I always like seeing him around.
Hmm. And so is today's director, John Braun.
Hmm.
And the set design is wonderful.
It is. It's very creative.
Yeah, very.
Yeah,
So,
all of the neon
Yeah,
signs.
wasn't that great? It's a really nice look,
well,
and
Tiger
it's
Stripes.
mm,
You said you had a note about George Clayton Johnson. Was there something you wanted
No,
to add?
that was it. That
That was.
in the credits he is only listed as George Johnson,
mm-hmm.
and
Mhm.
that was my note. George
Yeah,
Clayton Johnson. I'm
you
pretty sure
got
that's
it.
probably who it is, but the
Yes,
Clayton was missing.
Yeah, it was
it
like
was.
the George Clayton Johnson before he was George Clayton Johnson decided, hey, I need to put my middle name in there. It has a good ring to it.
People usually do that because there's already somebody in their guild with their name.
Yeah,
So
Mhm.
the fact that it's not here now is kind of somebody probably made a fuss about it. Say, wait a
that
minute,
could
I'm
be.
George
Yeah,
Johnson.
yeah, I'm.
Or
Yeah,
the agent calls more likely.
yeah,
My client is George Johnson.
yeah. But George
Yeah,
Clayton
you got to
Johnson,
change it up.
that has a nice ring to it. I like it.
Well, he was a friend of Charles Beaumont, and he wrote this. The story he wrote was called "All of Us Are Dying," about a young man who and this is coming from the Companion by Mark Scott Zickrey, about a young man who capitalizes on the fact that people see him as whomever they most want to see in the world. His downfall occurs when he pulls into a gas station, and the attendant recognizes him as a man he's wanted to kill for 10 years. So it's a little bit different from this story, but very similar. So uh, so so Serling liked the original title, but just decided to use "The Four of Us Are Dying." So and this particular guy looks different. He has to will it to be his face to be different. And so the way it works is the mechanics of the way he changes his face is a little different. I want to make sure to say hello to Canadian Spider-Man and Sigvaldison, who says, "Praise to our eldritch god." Good evening, Jill, Stone Racket, Tiger Stripes, and the audience. And hello to Railway Nation Gaming. Also, gotta say hi to Gavin Blackburn. I don't know which episode is the better. I cannot vote.
Oh, right, the poll. I'll have to think about that for a minute or two also.
Mm. Sigvaldason also says, I don't remember either episode, but did just read the synopsis for both episodes just now. I should have said afternoon, but so used to seeing everyone in the evening. Yeah, well, it's evening somewhere in the world.
It is
Watch your
technically
ex.
still morning where I am, which I'm very proud of, that I'm up in the morning. That's quite an accomplishment.
Me too. Me too. This is. I do like my naps. I wake up and then I'm like, what do I need to be awake for? Go back to sleep. But no, I have to be up to talk about Twilight Zone. It's good. It's a good day. So let's talk about it. We need someone to read our opening narration. Who would like to read it? Let's see. Let me put it in the
I'll
chat
be happy
first.
to.
Okay, there's half of it. And
Do you have
there
a
is
preference, Stone Racket, of one
other half.
episode over the other? If you had to pick one that you liked more?
Of the two episodes, I voted in the poll for The Four of Us Are Dying.
Then I think you have to read this.
Oh, okay. Just a second here.
Actually, Tiger Stripes, I want you to read the opening narration, and Stone Racket can read the closing narration.
But
Now
I would
we'll
rather
switch it.
read the opening for the next one.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
His name is Arch Hammer, and he's 36 years old. He's been a salesman, a dispatcher, a truck driver, a con man, a bookie, and a part-time bartender. This is a cheap man, a nickel and dime man, with a cheapness that goes past the suit and the shirt, a cheapness of mind, a cheapness of taste, a tawdry little shine on the seat of his conscience, and a dark room squint at a world whose sunlight has never gotten through to him. But Mr. Hammer has a talent, discovered at a very early age. This much he does have. He can make his face change. He can twitch a muscle, move a jaw, concentrate on the cast of his eyes, and he can change his face. He can change it into anything he wants. Mr. Archie Hammer, jack of all trades, has just checked in at $3.80 a night with 2 bags, some newspaper clippings, a most odd talent, and a master plan to destroy some lives. Hello?
Hello. Hello. I
Yeah.
forgot to unmute. Thank you very much. Hello.
I was like, wait, there's this long silence. It's like, wait a minute, I read it all.
It's sinking in.
You did. And that is a very good setup. It's a set. No, it was
Yeah,
a good setup.
I just like the staccato rhythm of Serling's, openings and this kind of hard hitting dialogue in this episode. It's just got a nice edge to it. Even the intro.
It does. And from the companion, it says, cast in the lead were Harry Towns as Arch Hammer, the central figure, Ross Martin, Philip Pine, and Don Gordon. 2 other
Yes.
actors were used in a scene early in the show in which
Yeah.
Hammer's face changes twice while he's shaving. This is a beautiful sequence done in one continuous shot. Hammer Towns is shaving. The camera pans to the mirror, which reveals a different face. The mirror being nothing more than an empty frame, behind which a second actor stands. Hammer goes to flick the ash from a cigarette into an ashtray. The camera follows his hand. When it rises back to the glass, the face is once again different. Oh, that's really clever. I love
Yeah.
that.
I like it when they do things all in one shot and all the magic happens off screen, but then within seconds, it's like the camera comes back and it's like, wait a minute. But we got 2 actors here. Oh, Gavin Blackburn. It's
Gavin
evening.
Blackburn.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, go ahead.
evening here in the UK, just like our fellow countryman Alfred Hitchcock used to say, "Good evening."
DJ Play Nice says, "Good afternoon. Thanks for hosting." You're welcome.
Well, for the three of us, it's still morning, 11:18 to be exact.
Sorry about the dead air, Sigvaldison. I made him
Uh-oh.
panic.
Uh-oh. Yeah, it's like the old mute button.
Hmm.
Yes, you can save that panic for the next episode.
Yeah.
Right.
The EMP
Oh,
is with the next
Yeah.
oh,
episode, not this
Yeah,
that's
there you
episode.
go.
really tense. Oh, wow. No, that's going to be good to talk about. But right now we're looking at all these paper clippings because he
Yeah.
uses them to figure out who he wants to be. He's coming up with a plan.
Yeah.
First, he finds the first clipping. The first thing he goes for, he sees the obituary for John Foster, and so he's interested in becoming John Foster somehow. Just is able to is a- somehow is able to become this person without having known this person at all.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh no, don't say
We
that.
don't want to overthink this. Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, how does he mimic the voice and his mannerisms?
Yeah, that's what I
And
was
how does he
thinking.
know where to go?
Yeah.
Well,
You
Well,
know,
we have to assume that he's done his research and he has these clippings so he can concentrate just to form the face, but he's done his research on these guys.
yes, which
Uh,
would make sense for
mhm.
a con artist.
Oh yeah, he
They
is.
go
That's
deep.
yeah, you got it. And there's John Foster, otherwise known as Ross Martin, wonderful
mm,
actor who will pop up again in Twilight Zone in the episode Death
right.
Ship, but he's most famous for his role as Artemis Gordon on The Wild Wild West.
The Wild Wild West. All right, we got some
Mhm. And
Western actors.
we've got two actors that are going to be popping up in Star Trek. Harry Towns appearing in the episode The Return of the Archons in Star Trek's first season. And then is it Robert Pine? Is that right?
That sounds right.
Yeah. I'm not looking at anything here. I'm just he appears in the third season episode The Savage Curtain as one
Oh,
of
he
the
does. I didn't catch that.
yeah, it's trying to think what his character's name is in that episode, but he's the one in the red jumpsuit. One of the bad guys that Kirk and Spock and Lincoln and oh goodness, what's this Vulcan's name again? The
Surak.
Sirac. Yeah, Sirac. They have to battle on the planet there.
Wow. Okay, so let's see who he is. I have the cast here, and he said Pine.
Yeah, is it Robert or Richard or
Colonel. He's called Colonel Green in this episode.
oh yeah, Colonel Green. Yes, how could I forget? In the red jumpsuit, Colonel Green. How could I forget?
I couldn't remember either. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. What I don't know, I consult the computer banks.
The computer bank. I have a little
So
bit here. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I just wanted to mention the different locations and the light signs in this episode are so fun. I've seen this done before differently. Like this is the common kind of thing to do, but this is it being done early, so it's just funny because the signs are really just in limbo, up and in the air,
Yeah.
detached from their buildings.
Very surrealistic, but it gets the idea of kind of a tawdry, kind of big city kind of thing going on there.
It made me think of something because at some point, one of the signs says girls, and it makes me think of my first time in New Orleans, and I was under orders from my brother who had lived there for a short while not to go out alone after night. He said, because the neighborhoods jump, they change from street to street. And of course I went out anyway.
Oh no.
And I'm walking down a street, and I don't remember which one, but it's in the French Quarter, and I pass a sign, and the sign says girls. And I'm like, oh gosh, that's interesting. And as I keep walking, the next sign says girls, girls. And I keep walking, and the next sign says girls, girls, girls. And I think I got up to 5 of them before I said, I
Wow.
think I need to turn a corner and
Yeah.
jump a street because
Yeah.
this feels uncomfortable.
Yeah. My goodness.
Yes.
It's like
How
yeah,
high up could it go?
we got
Who
girls,
knows?
and then the
7,
next one
8.
we got girls, and then the next one we got even more girls. See, girls,
That's sort
girls,
of
and
the way it was going, yes.
But you
I've
said
got
you had something.
I have a little bit from George Clayton Johnson, and he says Ray Bradbury inspired me by reading my stories and my notes, and he encouraged me to do more. He was concerned with my career, so he motivated me. Ray Bradbury was my mentor. Charles Beaumont was too. I kept my mouth shut and watched how Charles Beaumont did the scripts, and I learned how the business worked. And eventually I was on my own, and Rod and Buck, the Houghton, the producer, Rod and Buck was buying some of my stories. I met Rod at Charles Beaumont's house one day. Rod had bought the rights to adapt my story. Rod was Rod was contracted to write most of the scripts for the first season, but he could only come up with so many stories. It takes time to develop a story, so he bought my story and then a second one called Execution. And then he continues, there was my name up on the screen. I had entered into Hollywood, now had a credit, and had one on the great Twilight Zone in a collaboration with Rod Serling. I was utterly thrilled and looked forward to how it would work. This thing was cracking open a door for me, making me acceptable, even though Twilight Zone was very much a borderline success. It was shown at odd hours and had a very small but very loyal following. It had done only a few shows, and this was like the tail end of the first season, more like the middle part of the first season. But let's see.
Wow, that's really great.
Yeah,
I
this
like
this
how
whole
grateful he sounds.
yeah
Really grateful.
yeah he says this whole darn game is really kicked off by what I'm doing, and keeps the theme or the idea of or the point, and maybe some sense of the structure and the characters' names, but not necessarily. He's talking about the. Sorry, I kind of skipped there. Talking about the how Rod adapted his story.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, of course, it is a little different. He, yeah, Rod did
yeah.
make the story a bit of it more of his own.
Yeah. He says Serling really ripened the story. He was a great man. Bradbury was a great man too, but now I was immortalized on the television screen. I was surrounded by creative people who motivated me. My story contributed to the Twilight Zone, and the Twilight Zone played just as much a part of the Renaissance transformation of the 1960s that included rock music and marijuana. End of quote.
I think he's projecting there, but
Yeah.
that's just my personal feeling.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
But I do appreciate how grateful he is, and unlike most writers, he's not like, well, they changed my story completely. No, he says that the story was ripened.
Yeah.
I enjoy the way he appreciates
Yeah, George Clayton
how his
Johnson
work
in
is
the
used.
yeah, George Clayton Johnson in this book, and then earlier I read a section from Charles Beaumont. He was thrilled because he said they didn't change one word of my script. And Serling and the producer just said, "Yeah, go for it," you know. And yeah,
But that would have been a different script.
Yeah, that was his Perchance to Dream script that was the first one that he sold, and he actually was there watching them film the episode.
Oh, Motley
Yeah,
Crue.
yeah, Motley Crue, and also a bad Elvis Presley movie.
Girls, girls, girls.
Marshall Crenshaw has a song called Girls, 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 too.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's a popular theme in rock music.
And speaking of songs and ladies, we have a lady playing the piano, singing. She's singing. She likes to sing Frank Sinatra songs.
well,
Um,
first, it was made popular by Fred Astaire.
One for my baby. Is that the name of the song?
Yeah, it's Beverly Garland sang Harold Arlen and Johnny Mercer's 1943 classic "One for My Baby and One More for the Road," first performed by Fred Astaire and later by Frank Sinatra.
Is she
This,
actually singing?
yes,
That's my
I'm getting
question.
to that.
Yes. Oh,
This
yes. I could
this
tell.
this episode marked Beverly Garland's TV singing debut, playing the role of a torch singer. She recorded her voice tracks specifically for this episode. And this is Beverly Garland, quoting Beverly Garland here. They were
Oh,
concerned about, hello?
yes. Hello.
Yeah.
No, I
Th-
didn't think about that. She
They,
recorded it separately from the
yeah,
episode.
That's
yeah,
very
it,
common. Very common.
yeah, the cost for the music discs to be made was $50 and were dubbed into the episode soundtrack separately from Jerry Goldsmith's original music score. And then Beverly says, they were concerned about whether or not my voice would be acceptable. I think they were considering another actress or singer for the soundtrack, and then record the song and then record the song into the soundtrack. But that's me singing in that episode.
That's
I'm
good to
glad they
know.
kept her.
Yeah, I mean I mean, it's interesting that they record it separately. It looks like she's actually singing it live. That's how it sounded. Um,
Agreed.
yeah,
I
uh-huh.
couldn't tell it was a separate recording.
Yeah, it's great when they can do that, when they can fool you. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
Yeah.
it's
really
very
all the
convincing.
actors in this episode are really good,
Hmm.
and Beverly is especially good in this scene. There's just a brief scene, but she's very memorable.
Yes, Beverly Garland had a hotel called the Beverly Garland, or at least that's what I called it.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes,
okay. I
in the
didn't know
valley.
that. She had her own hotel.
She had her own hotel.
Wow,
oh,
but
that's
in
pretty
wow.
cool.
That's a little different from her character here, who's
Yeah,
just getting accosted by a drunk buffoon here.
I'm sure that
Hey,
when you're singing in a lounge, you get many drunk buffoons,
yeah,
and you learn very quickly what to say and how to sidestep them.
yeah, and she does successfully. She's like, yeah, yeah, I do want to drink by myself.
yeah. Tiger Stripes. Did you ever stay in the Beverly Garland motel
I
or
did not
hotel?
stay in the Beverly Garland, but I went in one Halloween into the bar. I was really
Oh,
looking for somewhere to party, and I was all dressed up, and I couldn't find anywhere successfully that night. It was
how?
very frustrating for me, but I went in and sat there
Mhm.
for a while, had a drink, and then split.
How were you? What costume did you have, or what? How were you
I was
attired?
dressed as Death
Oh my goodness!
from the comics,
Oh, from the
from the
comics.
Sandman.
Oh, that's from the Sandman.
Hmm.
Very interesting. And enter,
It's cool. That's a cool costume. Really,
yeah,
really good choice for Halloween. Very creepy.
Yes. Yes,
and
that's
enter
that
Ross
story
Martin.
even gets creepier, but we're not going to go there today.
Okay,
We'll go there some other day. Love
Oh,
Ross
okay.
Martin,
I'll try
really
to
yeah,
do.
remember that for Halloween.
Hmm.
A Halloween shore leave. I might bring this up if I can remember.
yeah. Tiger Stripes. You've seen the 1 hour Twilight Zone with Ross Martin, death ship, right?
No, not off the top of my head that I remember. I have not seen that many of the hour
Yeah,
episodes
and
because they're
that's
not
one.
shown that often.
Right, and I still need to watch. There's some I still haven't seen, but that is one of the best 1 hour episodes, and Ross Martin is really good in one particular sequence I'm thinking of especially.
He's
So it's
always good.
something to look forward to. Oh
He
yeah,
was
he's
he was
great.
also in The Great Race, where he
Oh
had
yeah,
a small but great little role.
right. Yeah, I saw gosh, I saw that when it first came out with my family at the
Oh,
drive-in when they used to show family films at the drive-in.
oh, that's nice.
Well, here they have. Okay, so Maggie is shocked to see John Foster again. Though, oh, there is a thing where they had considered just having one actor and doing his makeup for each different person, but they found out that that would take too much time, and
Yeah,
that's why they ended up using 4 actors.
yeah. They both books reference they're saying the quoting the casting director. She says that the actor would spend more time in the makeup chair than in front of the cameras. And with a 3-day shooting schedule, it's just impossible, just
And,
totally impractical.
yeah,
Impractical.
I'm really glad that they did though, because we get all these different performances of all of these actors trying to be one person,
Yeah,
and that's neat.
Yeah, that is neat.
So she, this is Maggie is acting as if she's seen a ghost because she's already grieved over this man that she loved, and here he is again. She it's really messing her up, and she does a great job of expressing that.
oh yeah,
And that's it's really terrible of Archie to be doing this. You could really realize just how immoral it is what he's doing here.
Yeah.
If I got to
yeah,
meet a friend that I lost again only to find that person again, but then it
No,
really
that would be a
wasn't that
terrible
person,
shock.
oh, that would hurt.
Yeah.
And
There was some guy recently in the news who faked his death. And yeah, and I think it made national news because it's kind of such a heinous thing to do to someone.
absolutely. And he, Archie is trying to pretend like this is what Johnny Foster has done. And Maggie is ready to believe it because she wants her love back. And he insists it's really him, so she buys it and she says she'll go run away with him, and he's just lying to her, and they have a whole makeout scene. It is and he Archie is just drinking in that love that he's never had before. That doesn't belong to him. It belongs to Johnny.
Yeah, they exchanged that really great line too, where he says, "Morning becomes you, kid." She says, "Yeah, me and Electra," and that's
yeah,
that's one for
yeah.
the play goers.
Right. But Johnny, he needs some bread if he's going to run off with Maggie to Chicago. I think they're going to go to, right?
Right, right, right,
So
right.
he's
Chicago or San
yeah,
Francisco or
yeah,
Detroit. He mentions a bunch of cities.
bunch of cities. Yeah, that's right.
Why not a beautiful dame? Why not? I've never had a dish like that. I've never been loved like that. Why shouldn't I? But but um before we get to his Johnny's old musician friend who recognizes him, there's more from the companion that says having a character with 4 similar but different looking faces was no easy job to cast. In December 1959, casting director Millie Goose told Peg Stevens of the Syracuse Post-Standard, "First, I thought we could use one actor and have him change his appearance, but this was ruled out when we timed it. The actor would be in the makeup room longer than he would be before the cameras." That's what you said earlier. Um, it's and then Buck Houghton remembers casting being a headache. It's bad enough when you've got 2 lookalikes to work with. Well, when you've got 4, it's a nightmare. I think we wound up with 3 blondes at one time and couldn't find a 4th that was anywhere in the ballpark. So 3 guys were out of a job. And then they tried um, men with dark hair and brown eyes, and they were all told to dress alike, dark suits and ties with white shirts. I'm sure they all thought they were going to a wedding. When they arrived, we eliminated two of them because of their light eyes, and then we changed the interviewing procedure. This does sound like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Wow, so they're assuming this guy can't change the color of his eyes or hair. He
I
can
suppose
rearrange his
so.
features, but he can't
Yeah.
really go, skin deep farther than that. Yeah, there's only one person I've ever seen who I thought really had that ability, and that's Jim Carrey.
Yeah. He.
Like here's a photo of him, obviously doing the Grinch, but with no makeup at all, just gurning.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time I saw him, Jim Carrey, he was on Rodney Dangerfield's. There's an HBO special where he had young comics, and that's the first time I saw Jim Carrey, and he would just perform
He
a
would do physical
metamorphosis.
impressions.
Yeah, all these,
Yeah,
he would go
yeah.
from Fred McMurray to Charles Nelson Riley
Oh, I've
to
got one of him
E.T.
here. Let me see if
You
I
know,
can find it. Where's my
it's just
picture? I had one though, and I went out of my way to do a screenshot. Yeah, let's see
That's
if
a
I
great
can.
point.
Let's see
Yeah,
if I can share
I'm
this.
yeah, he's just was
Let's
just
see if
so
I can get this up,
remarkable.
Jill. This is one of the
yes.
first times I ever saw him. No, that's. Oh, come on. Why can't I find this?
Well, while you're looking for that
Yeah.
picture, Johnny's musician friend recognizes him, but when he goes to offer him
No,
a light
that's
for
not
a
it.
cigarette, Archie changes his face because, of course, he's only trying to fool Maggie, and he's not
Yeah,
trying to
he's
to meet up with the friend.
he's Harry Towns again. I mean, Hammer.
Hammer, yes, Archie Hammer.
Archie.
Archie Hammer, like you said, he needs some bread to run away with his bride to be. He hopes anyway,
Yeah.
and so he turns into Virgil Sterig, and we'll see that newspaper clipping in a minute. More nightclub places.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a picture up now, just real quickly, Jill, if you want to
Okay,
share. It's
sure.
pretty hilarious. Yeah, that is actually Jim Carrey doing James Dean.
Yep.
That's one of the first ones I
Wow.
ever saw him do,
Yeah.
and he just gurns, and that's it. And he's the only person I've ever seen that I'm sure that in vaudeville, I bet there were a lot of people who were good at doing that. And there's some people with really malleable faces. I know that Frank Gorshin, when he did impressions, he would actually sort of rearrange his features a bit to look like the person he was doing the vocal impression of as well.
Yeah, he
But
did.
yeah, you can't really convince people. I'm sure if you're walking around, you can't hold your face like that all the time.
But that's really great when someone doesn't just do impersonations with their voice, but tries
Yeah,
to bring it out
yeah,
Yeah.
visually. Also, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
yeah.
And it reminds me of this little trivia bit from it's in both the companion book and my Twilight Zone book where George Clayton Johnson's agent uh, scratched out the title "All of Us Are Dying" from the story, and he scratched it out and he wrote "Rubber Face" and then submitted it to Rod Serling. So it's like, well, Jim Carrey, he's a real life rubber face.
Oh yeah,
He can change, and
Good point.
that yeah, Tiger Stripes
yeah, yeah. I've
mentioned
got I've
Frank.
got one more of him doing the Grinch
Uh-huh.
without a lick of makeup
There,
on, and that's the face. And
and and look who's behind him. It's Sonic the Hedgehog.
yes, that's because he was in that movie.
Yeah,
But somebody
I
probably said, "Do the Grinch," and so
yeah,
he
do the
just,
Grinch.
he obliged.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
That's a
interesting.
talent.
That's interesting. In an eerie coincidence,
Yeah.
Tiger Stripes. Guess what's going to arrive today by U.S. Post? My steelbook edition of Sonic the Hedgehog. I recently watched the trilogy,
Oh, that is
and
coincidental.
I just said, yeah, I've got to
Yes.
order these. So I ordered,
Oh, it's all 3 movies in
yeah,
Steelbook.
all 3
Wow.
movies. Third
I
one's a
didn't realize that existed.
the third one is a pre-order, but the first 2 I had to go to eBay, and Sonic 2 is coming down from Canada. Uh, eBay seller from Canada had that, and but today I'm getting the first movie. But yeah, I had a lot of fun watching those last weekend. I just binge watched all 3 of them. It's like,
But Rubberface, that is an agent's title, isn't it?
yeah,
And
it
so
was
there's not much elegance there.
no, and of course Serling will like the original title, but then he put of course the 4 of us are dying instead of all of us.
So
But
I'm glad they stuck it to 4, but if his face
yeah,
changed too much, I would get so confused.
yeah. I mean, just the opening when he's shaving, it's like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah. I almost thought the whole episode was gonna be like that. DJ Play Nice says, "I only played one of these as a strip club DJ so many times," and I think he's talking about Dwight Twilley has a song with the same title, Girls. Hmm. And let's see, Watcher X says, "And thus Reservoir Dogs came into being." And he also says, "I'm falling down the spiral, destination unknown." Oh, and James Caserta says, "Now we have deep fake." Now we just use technology to change faces.
But what if we could do a deep fake in real life, just like Archie Hammer?
Yeah, that's what he's doing. And speaking of which, here's the newspaper clipping of the gangland killing Virgil Sturrig,
Starrig,
local hood
yeah.
local hoodlum's bullet-ridden body found in river.
Oh my.
Good eye. Those clippings went by
Mhm.
fast.
Oh, well, that's why it really helps to make the screenshots because I pause it and I take the screen cap. And then
Do you have that slide?
um yes. Yes, I should show it, shouldn't I?
Yeah, I
Have
was
we
like,
have we
what?
passed the point where the trumpet player follows him out?
Yeah,
Yes.
Because
Yes,
I thought that was a really lovely touch. The guy is just so much in shock that he burns his fingers on the match. And I
yeah,
thought that
there he
was
is.
a really nice little acting touch.
Uh-huh. And this shot right here, and they're in silhouette there. That's really cool. And he's like still thinking, it's his pal. And it's like, uh-uh.
He seems like a nice guy, too.
Yeah,
he really does. And that is when I mentioned earlier that how can he really inhabit another person other than just by looking at him? I was thinking that maybe the lady was going to realize it wasn't her Johnny when they kissed.
That's
yeah.
a
I'm
good
not. It's like,
catch. That's a
yeah,
very
it's
good
like,
catch, Jill.
yeah.
Because you would. You would know.
Mhm.
It wouldn't be the same.
Mhm. But I don't know. She was deluded somehow.
If you wanna know if he loves you so, it's in his kiss.
Sometimes a girl's desperate.
That's true,
This
true.
is true.
She was also this is true, she was also exclusively singing sad songs, and as
Yeah.
soon as she saw and wanted to believe that Johnny was alive again, she started singing happy
She,
songs.
she changed her tune.
There was so much just in that one little scene.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to get some money so he can run away with this
Now,
girl, so
now, Jill, do you remember Harry Towns in Return of the Archons?
I remember
Sure.
Return of the Archons.
Yeah. Yeah, that's he's also in a really good Outer Limits episode called Obit.
He's the guy who's helpful in that Star Trek
Right.
episode.
And then he gets panicky. He's like, "I submit to Landru." And I think Spock has to give him a Vulcan nerve pinch, doesn't he? Because he's giving the game away. He starts panicking. But there's Colonel Green. I mean, Virgil Sterrig. Yeah, he's a tough looking customer, isn't he?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And his name, Sterrig.
Yeah.
And so he's going to go meet his friend who's also,
It's like
who's called Mr. Pennell.
Mr. Pennell. Hey, there's a water show.
And an arcade.
And an arcade. Wow.
I don't know
Yeah, I
what a
noticed
water
that.
show is.
What the heck is a water show?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
like,
sure I
wait a
want
minute.
to know.
Is this
I
Sea
have a
World? No,
feeling
this
it probably has something to do with fountains.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, like in Vegas.
Yeah, that's my. I hope so. If it's something else, less, more salacious, I don't want to know.
Yeah, not 1959. But yeah, let's say a indoor fountain type thingy in a lounge.
A
Whatever.
tank with a girl dressed up as a mermaid.
Or yeah, there you go.
Something, yeah.
Hmm. So, Mr. Pennell is shocked to see Virgil and accidentally busts his own TV. And he pretends that he's happy to see that he survived and says, "Oh, of course, your cut is stashed right over here." And Archie goes to the desk to take his money.
Yeah, he should have just grabbed it and ran out of there. Why didn't he? Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know. I think he was trying to put on a show.
Yeah. For us. I mean,
Well, Archie, as Virgil says, did somebody fish me out before I had it? Is that the question? No, Mr. Pennell. That's not the way it happened at all. I'm a ghost.
yeah, I'm a ghost and I need your money.
That's so funny. And I have your money now. I
Yeah.
will leave.
I'm going to go do ghostly things with your money.
I just think because he was just playing it up with Maggie, like, this is really me. I'm really Johnny. Here's like, no, I'm not Virgil. I'm gonna go now. More thugs come and begin to chase him. And this time he's actually getting kind of scared. This is a little scary. But he can't think of a face. And he's being chased. And so it requires concentration. He can't just change on a whim. He has to really think about it. But lucky for him, there's this poster of a boxer. So he copies that on short notice. And that works. Now he's Andy the boxer.
The gangster, Philip Pine, the actor, his IMDb says he was also in Star Trek.
Yeah, we talked about that. He played Colonel Green in The Savage Curtain.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Star Trek, we're going to meet another Star Trek actor, Peter Bracco, who plays Pop Marshak.
Oh, Andy's dad?
Yeah, he was in Errand of Mercy. He's one of the three elders.
Okay, or an Organian. He's an Organian.
Organian. Pardon me. Yeah.
Well,
he's one
same
of the
thing.
Organian.
You were right.
One of the Organian elders that are they're very friendly and gentle.
Right, and they don't like seeing people fight. So you Klingons and Starfleet, you got to be friends.
That's right. But the war would have been glorious. Says Kor, the Klingon commander, played by John Kalikos.
Yes. And so the thugs are confused to see Andy, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna leave now."
It's like,
this
hey,
always seems to work.
Aren't you that actor that was in The Outer Limits? Oh, wait a minute. No, that's a few years down the road. Don Gordon is in a couple Outer Limits episodes, Second Chance and The Invisibles.
Hmm.
So he's very familiar with sci-fi on television.
Very good. Oh, I meant to be playing the slides there. I was, where are they moving?
Now they're
There's
moving.
yeah, and just so happens to run into Andy's dad. So now he's Andy the boxer. It's Archie is now Andy. And so this is Andy's father. But it's not a good reunion.
Now, if Archie was smart, he should have concentrated on this man's face and then changed to him and just said, "See, I'm not your son, or I'm not who you think I am.
That would be smart.
I'm Rubber Face."
Forever traumatize this man.
Yeah, and then run away.
That would be smart.
But
But
yeah,
instead we get a breakdown of how terrible Andy's been.
yeah, he's no good.
He's good for
But
nothing.
Peter Bracco, he's excellent in this small role.
He is. I feel guilty just listening to him. It's
Yeah.
like, you were.
I thought it was good casting because these two men really do look like they could be father and son.
Mhm.
They
They've
do.
got very
Yeah,
similar facial structure.
It's just an impeccable cast all around. It's that's why I prefer this episode over the next one we'll cover. Just the entire cast is just superb. Of course, the second episode that's got a pretty darn good cast too, but and he just
Yeah.
shoves him down on the
Well, yeah.
on the sidewalk and just it's like yeah, he's just
Well, because Andy's dad is berating him for running away
yeah.
on his family, and now he's running away again. So he's just really laying it in on him. And that's why Archie, as Andy, shoves him to the ground
You got
just to get away.
Just to get away from him. Yeah, Marshak just broke his mother's heart, and I think he mentioned something about ruining a young woman's life or something like that.
Yes.
You know, and it's like no good.
Yeah. He's just you know he's no good the way how angry given how angry his
Oh yeah,
dad is. Like you're no son of mine anymore. That's like a big
yeah,
thing for a dad to say.
yeah. It's just interesting how Serling. I'd like to read the original story because I don't know if any aspect of that is there with
I
this
don't
particular
know.
character and interaction. I would suppose it's not there, but it could be. I don't know.
I would suppose it's not there too because Serling has a way of injecting extra humanity into things that
Oh yeah,
wasn't there before.
yeah. He's brilliant.
Rogue
He just there's so many great adaptations that he's done on Twilight Zone as well as especially so on Night Gallery because I've read the original stories and the Serling just puts his own little twist on it or especially his morality. Uh, and it's just
This
he's
one is
just
all about morality.
oh yeah, it's Serling's just has such a solid core of morality, and you'll take a really lame horror story called Boomerang and adapt it for Night Gallery, which was entitled The Caterpillar. He just makes it an unforgettable horror segment of Night Gallery, but also he puts his morality, his stamp of morality on it because he changes things completely from the original short story.
Mhm. Yeah, you can even think about it that way in terms of the sins he's committing during this episode. The first one being lust, possibly. and then going to avarice by stealing money.
Yeah.
And the last, of course, is
But
taking a
but
woman who isn't yours.
yeah. But Brogu, oh, don't say that, Brogu. Hello, everyone, he says. No one cares, but Brogu is here. It's like we care. Hello,
We do
Brogu.
care. Hello, Brogu. Did maybe you said something before and I missed you?
Oh dear.
We do care. And James Caserta is also here. Everything is no, that's not true. I'm sorry, I highlighted that.
What? What?
We find interfering in your affairs quite disgusting, says James. I don't know what
Oh,
James is
that's
talking about
he's
today.
referring to Errand of Mercy, I think.
Oh,
Something
oh, is that a
maybe.
quote? I'm so sorry. No, you're
Maybe. I
probably
don't know if
right.
that's the exact quote, but it seems to ring a bell.
Oh, these people who memorize the Star Trek episodes, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
That sounds that makes sense.
Uh-huh. And the big reveal at the end of Errand of Mercy, just these beings that are pure thought.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yes,
okay, but they were really bright and shiny there before. It's like,
right. And yeah, but I don't know, not they don't really interfere too much after that. You think after this, they're like, oh, now you can't. It's just that they didn't want to see the fighting. As long as they don't have to see it, they're not going to bother you about it.
yeah, it's I think I know David Gerald refers to the Organian Treaty between the Federation and the Klingons. Gosh, that must have been something that I don't know if that was in an actual episode or something that was referred to in TNG or just in David's own writings. But I remember he referred to the Organian Peace Treaty, and
Yes,
you know,
I feel like that was a thing.
hmm
That is a thing. That becomes a thing, but it just
and then of course the Organians say that they'll be that the Earthers and the Klingons will be friends in the future. And it's like,
well,
well, let's
that
get
ends
back to Twilight Zone. I
that
don't.
that ends up coming true.
It
Wow.
does. Yes.
Great. Well, they are got one of the godlike beings in the original series, and that's correct. Sigvaldison says it was in an episode about the peace treaty,
Okay.
and I think the Tribble episode came from that treaty.
Yeah.
Hmm. And that started a whole nother war,
Yeah.
the Great Tribble Hunt. But we'll not worry about that right now. You're right. This is too much
Yeah,
of a
that's
tangent.
Don
I'm
Gordon's
sorry.
been packing that suitcase for a long time, Joe. I think we better move on.
Okay. So all of his misadventures are finally catching up to him, and somebody's catching on to him somehow. So
Yep.
he's about to be arrested here,
Yeah,
and
it's the plainclothes cop.
yes,
He's in on this con man named Archie Hammer.
but
It's
he's a
funny
nice
how
cop.
plainclothes cops always still look like cops.
Yeah.
I don't know
Mhm.
why that is, but it's so true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Archie is able to give him the slip. He does a little trick with the door somehow
Yeah.
and changes his face. And it works. Once again, it works. It always works
It's
for
the
him.
old revolving door trick that we'll see later in the Superman movie with Christopher Reeve.
Yes, exactly. But
Uh-oh.
Archie didn't suspect that Andy's dad was going to stalk him and find out
And
where he was.
he's packing heat, Jill.
He is. He's got a gun. And that's the end of our man who can change his face.
He gets his just desserts, as they say.
Mm.
No, he actually got Andy's just desserts.
Well, I mean, Archie also he deserves to He's
Does
he's a
he?
no he's a no good Nick
He's a
as
no
well.
good
But you're
Nick, but I don't
but
know if anybody deserves to be shot by their father. One can only imagine what Andy must have done.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, enough to not just be disowned, but also be killed. Also, it was that bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
pretty
will never know.
unhinged.
We'll never know exactly what led that to happen. Maybe something happened with that girl that was worse than we understood. We could
That's my gut.
understand.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
poor girl.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. They couldn't just it's 1959. There's only so
They,
much they can do. So
yeah, they can't say it on
mhm.
Oh,
TV,
just
but
saying that kind of says it all.
Yeah,
it does.
yeah.
And the companion has more to say here. Oh,
Hmm.
oh, Mark. This is Mark Scott Zicree's editorializing. It says, despite a basically absurd premise, after all, even if a man could change his face, how could he possibly imitate the voices and mannerisms of men he never met?
But Jill, we can't overthink. Remember? That's funny when
But
you said the companion. I immediately thought of Metamorphosis of Star Trek. The Jill must continue. The companion says,
well, he
"Yes."
is. Well, it is a good companion. No, I
Oh, it's
really
an
enjoy
excellent
Mark.
book.
I
I
really
do.
enjoy
It would have
Mark's
been
work here.
a better episode if they had, like you said, Jill, kind of put in the point where people kind of tip, where they're like, "Hey, wait a minute,
There's
this is not.
something a little off
There's something off."
about you.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
even
would
if
have
they
liked
don't
that too.
really deal with it because there's not enough time in the episode.
Right.
It's
Like even if Maggie accepts him as Johnny, maybe she just seems a little off, off put, but desperate at the same time. But he also says it's a powerful show. That half of the opinion I agree with.
yeah. It's
Sterling's
yeah.
writing is
Agreed.
harsh and spare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he uh he compliments the acting, of course. That's good. And Jerry Goldsmith. Oh, he makes his own list for Jerry Goldsmith. Planet of the Apes, Alien. I didn't think of Alien.
Oh yeah, Alien. Yeah.
And of course, Star Trek the motion picture.
Yep.
And more Star Trek and more Star Trek.
And more.
Made made up made up of piano, drum, xylophone, trumpet, and flute. It is all hard edges and sharp movement, perfectly fitted to and enhancing the story.
Definitely.
I enjoyed
And
it.
then
And closing narration. We've got
mhm.
closing narration for. We need a reader for the closing narration.
I can how about I read for this episode and then Tiger Stripes will read for this
Okay,
for
sounds good.
third from the sun. He was Arch Hammer, a cheap little man who just checked in. He was Johnny Foster, who played a trumpet and was loved beyond words. He was Virgil Sterrick, with money in his pocket. He was Andy Marshak, who got some of his agony back on a sidewalk in front of a cheap hotel. Hammer, Foster, Sterrick, Marshak, and all four of them are dying.
Yeah, when you hear that title, how are they going to be dying? Well, they did.
Yeah.
They did all die.
And look
They're all
how
dead.
Beverly Garland is credited. Nice big letters there.
Yeah, she got
well, that's in
the
your
bigger
contract,
letters.
I'm
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
They don't just do that accidentally.
Oh, and this is the first episode. It says here in the trivia where Rod Serling doesn't say in the Twilight Zone in the
That's
closing
true.
narration.
Yeah. That's true. I like it when he
John,
says in the Twilight Zone, though.
me too, me too. It makes it. I enjoy it. You feel part of the universe there.
You bet.
John the Beagle Dad is here. Hello.
Hello, John the Beagle Dad. I'm
Yeah,
Stone
glad you
Racket.
joined us.
I'm Stone Racket, the Tabby Dad.
Ah,
I
you
have
could make your name longer.
two tabby kitty cats. And they're both fans of the Twilight Zone, Jill.
Oh, good. They don't disagree on that one.
No, they love the Twilight Zone.
So, if they love the Twilight Zone, maybe they want to hear about the next episode, Third from the Sun.
Yep, Third from the Sun.
Third from the Sun first aired on January 8th, 1960. The story by credit goes to Richard Matheson, and the teleplay was written by Rod Serling. And this one was directed by Richard L. Baer. And obviously, the title refers to the position of our planet, Earth.
Yeah.
Its order revolving around the sun, you know?
Yeah. When I first saw this, I wasn't fooled. I just went, wait a minute. It's like the title just gives it away.
It kind of does.
But the thing is that the way it's directed and the set decoration and then the strange music that's played from the stereo or whatever that is in the living room, and then the way the car sounds like a jet engine when it's going, it's like, wait a minute. Yeah,
Yeah, that was on purpose.
this is another planet, and they all happen to speak English.
Yeah, those subtle differences between Earth,
Mhm.
you know, just barely making it alien, but
Yeah,
still making everybody human.
it was fun watching this again in HD because I don't know what it is, but this episode really pops. It's like they used a different film stock or something because it wasn't as grainy as some of the other episodes, and it just looked really sharp. And of course, all the wide angle lenses, used makes everything really sharp. But yeah, it really popped on my TV.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad it looked really nice. So we're starting at this place of employment, security, place where they're doing a lot of work towards the war effort. So to learn that, you learn people's titles: chemical warfare, hydrogen armament, germ warfare research, hydrogen armament. So that's the kind of work being done at this plant.
Yeah, this was filmed at the Southern California Edison substation located at Culver and Overland Boulevards in Culver City, adjoining the MGM transportation pool.
Hmm. Oh, that's great. I didn't know where this was filmed.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
then the Security Gate 22 might possibly have been an inside joke. Later in the episode, while Sturka and Jerry attempt to get their family to the spaceship, all of that was filmed on stage 22.
Oh, nice. That's a good parallel. I wouldn't even have known that.
And
Very
here's
good.
here's Fritz Weaver, and let's see, this is Edward Andrews, who is usually in. I know him from different film comedies, but he'll pop up in a 5th season episode of Twilight Zone.
Nice.
But they cast him because he's like he's cast against type. He's
Oh, I would
someone.
disagree completely. There's always something off about that guy for me whenever I see him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's good though. I mean, he's good in comedy, and he also he's in a couple of thriller episodes, and he's very good in oh, I'm trying to think of the title of that, but he's really good in that thriller episode.
Yeah,
But he's
I have to agree with Wikipedia. They say he was often cast as an ornery boss, a cagey businessman, or
Yeah.
other officious types.
Yeah,
And that is what I get from him.
Yeah.
He's the kind of person. His vibe for me is that he's the kind of person who always wants to press their advantage. If they have some sort of power advantage, they're going to use it. But
Which is very
The
true
way
in
he,
this
he always,
the way
he
he
episode.
always
was,
makes me a little uncomfortable for some
Okay.
reason. He's good that way.
Yeah. He's kind of creepy. But
well,
he's
the way he's talking here feels like 1984. Like, watch
yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah, watch
Thought
what
police
yeah.
is here.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
very much too of the whole Red Scare era,
Oh yeah.
which was probably just passing at this point. Getting to the point where there was still a list and people's names were still on the list and they were still being blacklisted.
James Caserta says, I had a dream in college that I was going to meet Fritz the next day. And I did in the park.
Fritz Weaver.
Oh.
And he'll pop up again in one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes, The Obsolete Man.
Mm-hmm.
And Edward Andrews will appear in the 5th season episode, You Drive, which is the only Twilight Zone episode I remember seeing when it was still on the air.
Wow. Well, here, Carlin is talking about how he thinks the war it's going to break out within the next 48 hours. So full blast, yeah. So the big ones coming. Of course, they mean nuclear weapons, and then they think that they can get one up on the enemy because they will attack first. And well, Sturka doesn't feel so optimistic about this because either way, millions and millions, tens of millions of people are going to die at the least. And that's apparently not good talk to be having. So he goes home.
So are we going to have
Yeah.
Tiger Stripes do the opening narration?
Yes. Yes. Let me get to where that is.
Or Jill could read one of these days.
Oh yeah, I could. Sure. Quitting time at the plant. Time for supper now. Time for families. Time for a cool drink on a porch. Time for the quiet rustle of leaf-laden trees that screen over the moon. And underneath it all, behind the eyes of the men hanging invisible over the summer night, is the horror without words. For this is the stillness before the storm. This is the eve of the end. And so now Sturka has made it home. He's playing with one of his statues here. I don't know what this is. And there's music playing in the background. You said Stone Racket's strange music?
Yeah, it's like
But that device, which looks like a sort of a altered Maltese falcon or something, is definitely the thing that's playing the music.
Yeah, and then that phone.
Yes.
You see the phone. I had a friend in junior high school, and I was over at his house, and his parents had a phone like that, and one in their study.
There's a notation that it was from Sweden.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have been recognized, in the U.S. at the time. And they were saying that AT&T really had a stranglehold on the products that they allowed to be sold at the time.
You got it.
It is kind of a cool phone because the rotary
the dials
is
on the bottom.
Yeah, and it has a center button that the weight of the phone. Once you lift the phone up, then that you get your dial tone and you got your rotary dial on the bottom. It's just really,
And it looks
really
like a
cool.
spaceship. It looks like the spaceship from War of the Worlds.
Or you're thinking of the manta ray Martian
Yes.
tripods. Yeah.
So Sturka's daughter comes to greet him, Jody. She wants a dance, but he refuses and turns off the music. Jody wants to know what's wrong with her dad. He tries to play it off that um that she just reminds him how old he is, given how mature his daughter is becoming. And I can actually understand that because my sixth grader is now as tall as I am. So why is that happening? He has bought uh, um anyway. However, the Jody knows this isn't really the problem and asks if her dad just doesn't like his job because and she's completely right. She says, "Oh, I mean just having to work on the kind of things that you do. Fever bombs and hydrogen bombs and gas and things like that." And Sturka tries to play it off that no, I'm just a cog in the wheel. In one bomb, there are perhaps 1,000 pieces that require 50, 60, 70 people. So I'm not quite that responsible. But he's just providing a cover. He doesn't want his family to panic, I guess. But she knows. Everybody knows. It's palpable. Everyone is talking about it, and so everyone knows that something's wrong and that war is imminent. The doomsday is coming. Everyone knows it. It's not something that's a secret. And and you can feel it too in everybody who's talking. Just
Yes, it's very
4'1",
effective.
4'11". No,
the
I'm taller than that.
It's interesting.
Sorry.
The Jody and then the mother, his name is Anne. Anne and Jody were the names of Rod Serling's two daughters.
Yes.
That's kind of bringing it close to home.
Yeah.
It is, and not just that, but they also talk about having what is it that he has scrapbooks in his attic, and that is where Serling keeps his scrapbooks
That's right.
or kept them.
And Jean Evans, who plays Anne, the mother, was the real life wife of Richard L. Bear, the director of this episode.
Hmm.
And
Well, gosh, how deep are we taking this familial thing?
yeah, and then
It turns out that Edward Andrews had a daughter named Tabitha, and that is why Tabitha in Bewitched was named Tabitha, because Elizabeth Montgomery knew the family and she loved the name.
oh,
So it's all
so we
yeah,
we have a
it's
Bewitched connection,
it's tight
eh?
circles, tight
Yeah.
circles in Hollywood.
Yeah, Richard L. Bear got his wife into another episode of Twilight Zone that he will direct, To Serve Man. So
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Gene Evans gets to play a supporting role in that as well. But I have a little bit here. Third from the Sun was Richard Matheson's second published story and appeared in the very first issue of Galaxy Science Fiction.
Wow.
Matheson was paid $50 for the story and was quite pleased at the time. When the short story was purchased by Kyoga for Twilight Zone, the price tag was $1,000. So,
Well, the
that's
question is, did he see any of that money, or did Galaxy Magazine at that point own his story?
well, since Matheson had a collection of short stories published with the title Third from the Sun and other stories, I'm pretty sure it all went to him at that point.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Well,
That's the smart thing that writers do these days is you sort of lease the rights to your story or your novel. You never sell it outright, and then you can just sell it again and again. is, when the lease expires. So somebody will have a year, 2 years, 5 years to make a movie. But then if they don't, the rights go back to you, which is smart.
Well, I certainly hope the story by credit author got compensated. That's a good question. But things are very, very tense here in this household. So Sturka tries to say, well, let's have cards tonight to get people's minds off the fears. But there's an ulterior motive, obviously, for this card game because he also makes Jody break her date for the night.
Oh,
And
Dad, I was going to the sock hop with my date.
yeah, she
Jody's
doesn't
kind of
say what she
lucky.
was going to do.
It's like, wait a minute, they have a sock hop as well on this planet? No, no, I'm just making that up. I'm sorry.
She's the only person in the house that doesn't realize that the whole house is bugged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, well, and finally Sturka tells Eve that the doomsday's coming. It's going to be hell and be a holocaust. It's going to be the end of it all. So, but don't worry, we're going to leave. We're leaving the planet. Oh, he doesn't even say that. He just says, I can't tell you how. Just during this time, we got to be ready. Don't tell anybody. And his friend comes over who's helping with this scheme to leave the planet.
Yep, he's also, this friend is their pilot.
Mhm. He comes pretending that he needs help with his watch. But really, he's there to say, hey, we got to change our plan. There's a problem. And that's what's coming up here. But I was a little bit behind with the slides.
But it's a nice opportunity to notice all of the decor because the set design and the props and everything are really wonderful on this. Everything's just a little off.
Well, and the angle is just a little tilted. Yeah.
But that's that what we consider now retro, but at the time was futurism, the style design.
Hmm.
Now we call it retrofuturism.
Yeah, there he is. There's Jerry. He finally made it. I was waiting for Jerry. Jerry Ridden is there. And that's the cover story that he's there to get a watch fixed. But the reality is that they have to talk about the spaceship. They put a different guard on the ship. The one I know, the one I paid, gets off at 11. So Circus says then we have to leave at before 11. And that's going to be more difficult because there are more people at the base, at the field. And of course, we've got Carling spying on everybody. But Jerry and Circa make sure that their plan is still gonna work, even though they have to do it a little earlier. So they're gonna play cards. They're gonna play cards just to keep everybody together and to be able to head out when they need to. Again, it's tense throughout the whole thing, and he Carling just spying is it's a little bit humorous. He's just there lurking.
He does pop up like a jack in the box, but is also again super creepy.
He is.
And
He's super
and when he
creepy.
walks in, and you can tell because he repeats phrases that they've just been saying that he's clearly been listening through some sort of bug. That's really super creepy.
And now they start playing the most uncomfortable game of cards I've ever seen. It's they just They're playing now. And there's Anne. Hey, we're meeting Anne. And so to break that tension, the ladies go off to go get some dessert. And Jerry says, I know our destination. It's right there. And it's 11 million miles away. And I was expecting it to be further away than that. But okay, 11 million miles. That's pretty close.
Yeah, you're good at that. How far are we from Mars?
Farther than that. I think like 30. Let me check for sure.
I know there's been more than one movie title, I think. So many million miles to Mars, so many million miles to the moon.
30 is actually the low end of how far away Mars is. So I was close. It's when it's at its
Depending
closest.
on the orbits.
Exactly. Depending on the orbits, it's
you're talking about
33.
orbits? Yeah.
It's 33 million miles at its closest. This is Mars.
Yeah, and then
To
Venus.
250 million miles when it's at its farthest.
And then Venus is the closest at 24 million or something like that. When it's at its closest to Earth, it's 24 million miles.
So if they're only 11 million miles away, we would sort of know where they were.
Yeah, that's the big stumbling block of, it's like, wait a minute, didn't they? I mean, DeForest Research, I'm sure they were mentioned earlier in my book, and it's a wonder that DeForest Research didn't call them on that. It's like, hey, wait a minute, what is this? 11 million miles.
Yeah, it would have been neat if they would have said like 400 million miles. Then you could say, then you could say they were living on one of the moons of Jupiter.
There you go.
So Serling had this Forest Research vetting his scripts?
Well,
so did Star Trek. Yeah.
DeForest Research was mentioned in my Twilight Zone book, referring to an earlier episode, and it crops up when you look at the history of Star Trek. So I'm assuming that a lot of network, or a lot of scripts were looked over by people from DeForest Research at each network, I'm assuming.
Whose choice would that be? Would that be something the network was doing?
That would be the network, yes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting that
nice little
this mysterious planet, they've got playing cards just like we do.
Yeah, there's.
Oh, I don't think they're playing cards or anything like us. Their bids were ridiculous. 16? I don't think I've ever seen anything where you could bid 16. I mean, and I've played hell.
I've never played hell.
It's fun. It takes a lot of scorekeeping. You've got to have a good scorekeeper.
It's okay. And they for the planet they're gonna move to, they know it's populated, and they picked up some radio waves. And the language isn't too different from theirs. They've been able to decipher a lot of it. So it is kind of funny.
Yeah. It's basically we all have Babel fishes in our ears so we can understand Fritz Weaver, and I mean, what's his character's name again? We can understand everybody on this planet.
Well, they make it the point that they've heard some of our transmissions and that our language is not unlike their own.
Yeah, I'm just making a joke.
Oh yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. We can all understand each other,
right?
Because of the Babel fish.
The Babel fish.
Ears.
Yeah.
It's a good kind of. Is that a parasite? It's a good parasite. If it is.
Yeah, it's a friendly parasite.
I wouldn't call it a parasite.
Oh, then it's symbiotic. Then
yeah, it's a
there
symbiote.
You go. Yeah,
there it is.
Symbiote. Yeah, I like that.
So Carling arrives, and of course he was snooping earlier. So now he's
he just wanted to stop by and get some lemonade, Jill.
Yeah. He doesn't even nobody even offers him anything. He's just like, I just want lemonade.
Yeah. Now this shot,
Well, no, yeah, he knows that they're having lemonade because he's been listening to them. That's so
yeah,
Yes.
creepy.
It is.
yeah. Now
That's
this
scary.
particular camera shot made me think of Mel Brooks's High Anxiety, where he does a parody of the shooting through the glass table.
Oh, neat. Well,
Yeah,
Carly,
we're
yeah.
are you familiar with that, Jill? Or Tiger Stripes?
Well, I assume that shooting through a glass table like this has got to be Hitchcockian then.
But they're Clovis Leachman and I'm trying to think the other actor. They're discussing things and they start putting things on the glass table so the camera is blocked and it has to move a little bit. And then finally Clovis Leachman puts this big tray and it completely obscures the camera looking up.
That's a great way to transition, though. Well, the companion, the book has.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So the Twilight Zone companion has something about the director and how he shot this episode. It says only a handful of shots were filmed straight on. Most were distorted, tilted this way or that, and that wasn't all. I shot every scene with an extremely wide angle lens, Bear explains. Even on close ups, which are normally shot with a 75mm or 100mm lens, I used a 28mm.
Yeah.
And then he continues, he used wide angle lenses all the time on the theory that if you're going to tell people in the end that they weren't on Earth, you should have a peculiar feeling while you're getting there. You should have
Yeah.
been made a little restless or uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was made uneasy by those crazy drapes they have in there.
Well, they're aliens, they
They're
got different
aliens.
tastes. The
It's
alien
alien
tastes.
drapes.
Yes. And
No, I like the way he directed this. The nice camera angles and everything, and the wide angle lenses. It's just awesome.
Yes, it was. I enjoyed it too. It did make me feel tense. He pulled off the feeling that he wanted to pull off,
Yeah.
which is great. And every once in a while I switch between calling him Bill and calling him Circa. And so right now I'm calling him Bill because it's time. So they're saying it's time to go. They're talking about leaving. We've bribed a lot of people, and the ship's loaded with supplies. And okay, so this is where Jody is learning that they're leaving the planet.
Well, there's that lemonade, Jill.
Yeah.
Oh, is that chocolate cake too?
Yes, there's chocolate cake too, but Carling knew already he didn't want any cake before it came out.
This is where my mother, God bless her, would say, chocolate cake and lemonade. But
Yeah.
Oh, really? What would she serve?
she would just assume that those didn't go together, I think.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a bit of a clash.
I guess milk and chocolate cake.
Yeah, milk
Or,
and chocolate.
lemonade and white cake. You just wouldn't go
Ah.
with citrus and chocolate together. But
Yeah, I agree. That sounds better to me.
but this is an alien planet where they do things different.
Yeah. They don't have angel food cake or
I actually think those curtains look very normal, but they were very normal in the late 50s. That was
Yeah,
called
okay.
bark cloth.
and then
And people frequently use tropical motifs.
and then
on
the pattern that's behind Anne. I don't know if those are other drapes or something that's on the wall, but that
It
was
looks
really
like tile to me.
yeah, tile, something
yes,
like that. And I was
it
like,
really
boy,
pops.
this is really wild. But boy, yeah, speaking of popping, it really looked great on my TV. It's like it is very sharp because wide angle lenses tends to do that. but the film stock, I think, was a different kind of film stock because it looked so much better than,
I agree. I think
you
that's
know.
what Jill was talking about.
Uh-huh.
The guy used a different lens, but I also think, there's some episodes of Twilight Zone that you can tell were videotaped very clearly because they're very grainy, but this is clearly on film stock.
Yeah, there are 6 episodes that they were forced to use videotape because of the programming director, people at CBS wanted to try to cut costs, and they did 6 episodes in the second year. I think, yeah, the second year they did 6 of them on videotape, and it's like, no, all of them should be on film.
Mhm. Oh, we're finally catching up to the moment where he's explaining to Jody they gotta go.
Yeah.
It's basically the whole episode, like, things aren't good. Oh, we finally get to see the rotary dial on the bottom. I wouldn't have known that was the case if
Yeah.
they didn't have this scene.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
things
funny.
really start to accelerate once we get past the lemonade and the
Once
chocolate
we
cake.
Well, finally, yeah, we just needed a snack before the trip.
Yeah, there you go.
And so we head into the car and everybody leaves. And so they make it to where the spaceship is located at the plant or wherever they
Mhm.
work,
The
wherever
Ministry
they
of
work.
Science.
Oh, great
This
allusion to 1984. I like
Yeah,
that.
this gate not to be used except in the case of emergency.
Ministry of Science. Nice.
Yes, and soon we get to see the United Planets cruiser C-57D. There it is. Yay,
Oh, yay! It's a
from
spaceship
Forbidden
from
Planet.
Forbidden. Yeah, from
Yeah.
Forbidden Planet.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's a painting, and they lit it in such a way they can't really make out the desert background that was from the actual film Forbidden Planet. But yeah.
That's well done. That's really
Mhm.
good. And yeah, that was a nice way to reuse something without
Yeah.
reusing all of it. That would have been bad if not only do you have the ship, but look, you're also on that planet.
It's like
No, that'd have been too much.
yeah. And then I can't wait till we get to the interior.
Yeah, the interior has
More
stuff, more
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 stuff.
more Forbidden Planet goodness.
Yeah. No, this is exciting for Forbidden Planet fans. And
Yeah.
this won't be the first time we see this spaceship used in the Twilight Zone.
Oh, spoilers, Jill.
Just
Yeah,
remember it.
we get to see it again. At least in 2 more episodes that I can think of. Maybe there's another
I
one.
could describe one where I remember it, but I won't.
Yeah, The
We'll have
Invaders
to
is
wait.
one, and To Serve
Yeah.
Man, I think they use it again.
Yeah.
There might be one other one,
Mhm.
but
Where with the giant lady
oh,
or the tiny aliens, however you want to think about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But anyway, yes. Great spaceship.
Mhm. And
And y'all addressed how that was from Forbidden Planet, of course.
yes.
Yes,
Oh,
we
yeah.
did. We
Mhm.
were maybe
I'm
we're a
useless
little
here,
too.
really. I don't know why I'm here anymore,
Oh, no, don't say that.
but it's true.
Your
That's not
contributions are
true.
valuable. I enjoy your contributions, Tiger Stripes.
That is a
Well,
beautiful
no,
spaceship.
we
Yeah.
might have been a little too excited about it, so it might
Love
have been
this
good that you
through
said it
the
more evenly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
love this through the chain link.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's just so
It
much tension in this
it
entire
is. It's
episode.
scary.
Yeah.
It's why
It's well
I
done.
gave it my vote over the other one.
Yeah,
It's
cool.
not the, not such a surprise ending, but just the feeling
Mhm.
of the big brother is watching you over all of it, along with the nuclear threat.
Yes,
Yeah.
I definitely get.
It's very much of its era and of a couple of other eras, the 80s in particular. Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
I agree with you. It has big Orwellian feelings for coming through, and the the tension you're hoping. This is your friend, right? Because it's supposed to be the friend that's supposed to come and help them with the ship, but it is not a friend. Of course, as we'll see. It's Carling.
Yeah. But Jody comes to the rescue.
Jody does.
Yeah,
She does. That was
she does.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
it,
have I
Yeah,
have
that
it.
was
I
cool.
have I
yeah,
have the slide for it.
it's
Oh, and
well
did y'all
done.
mention the electric car as well?
No.
I did earlier,
That was really
sounding
remarkable.
sounding like a jet
There's
engine,
a
but
there's a whine. It's
right.
just like electric cars these days, and
Uh-huh.
that's very prescient.
Yeah.
So there he is. He's holding the gun on the family, trying to
Hmm.
force the men in the car and the women out of the car, whatever he wants to do. We don't get to
Yeah.
find out because, as you said, Judy saves the day, and she
Jody,
smashes
yeah, she
Jody, not Judy.
opens the door, and then Fritz gets to jump across the roof of the car, which is great that he did his own stunt there. It's well done.
And this guy goes down like a sack of potatoes with one punch, and it's not even to the jaw. So, but still,
Yeah.
got
Oh
to move
well.
that story. But that's all right. I
Yeah,
don't like to
you.
second guess stories too much. I have a willing suspension of disbelief.
Yes, that's
I like to believe that the entire family could subdue this guy.
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And it might take a little longer in real life, but I'm okay with it. Let's go. Let's go to the spaceship.
Yeah, I would have you know, if I was
Did
one of
you
the
did
two
you did you
gentle
happen to know what kind of a car that was? I'm just sort
oh,
of curious. It's like a Hupmobile. It's so retro.
That's a good
um
question.
I can find out. Give me
It's
a
not
little
that
bit.
important. I was just, sometimes guys know their cars, but it's
I
and
can find
with the
out for you.
side the fender skirts, it's really
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's
It's got great lines.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. It's really fun. But no, I have no idea what this what kind of car it is. I should have looked that up. That's really a smart question.
Oh, that's just part of the design, the
Mhm.
overall that
The
futurism design of the whole episode.
also, I
yes.
think my book mentions the car, but I was trying to find it on the database.
Oh, you're not going to see it on on the internet.
No, no
Your book is going to.
oh yes you can. If
Oh, I guess you can, but
yeah,
where?
there's but I think my book here mentions the car, but I don't know if it really goes into. Let me see. You guys go ahead and carry on. I'll see if I can find it here. Because Ford,
That's okay. It was just a casual remark.
well, yeah,
You don't
I,
feel driven by it.
when it comes to cars and tech, I'm driven.
Guys,
Yeah, it's a guy
men.
thing.
All right.
It turns out it is a 52 Buick built by Barris Custom.
Oh, it's in your book.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
by
that's cool.
George
So it's a
Barris.
Yeah,
George
George
Barris.
Barris. Yeah, the
Yeah, George
Batmobile guy
Barris. Yeah, he did the
and the
Batmobile.
Monkey Mobile, I
He
believe.
did the monkey. Yeah, I was just going to say that the Monkey Mobile, and he did the Green Hornet car.
So this is really a customized car,
Yeah,
not
it's a
just a.
customized car.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's right, Jill. Jill has the companion. I mean, the
No, it's
Twilight
not.
Zone
It's
companion.
not in the companion. It might be in the companion, but I don't. I didn't find it there. I
Oh,
found it. I found it in like you said, Tiger Stripes. Definitely a website made by a man who loves his cars, and I don't know.
no,
I don't know. You can tell this
sweet.
is just. It's just a forum called jalopyjournal.com.
Oh, cool. Thanks for finding that.
Yeah. And it was owned by Lyle Lake from Orlando, Florida. It was called the Blue Danube.
Oh, I just found, yeah, the
The Blue
automobile.
Danube.
The automobile which Sturka and Jerry used to flee with their family was called the Blue Danube, designed and built by George Barris, who customized the Buick and a number of others for use in a key scene in The Time Machine. So again, here's
Ah,
a prop from an MGM movie. In this case, the Time Machine.
Neat.
Yeah.
Okay.
very neat.
Yeah, I want my own 1966 Batmobile, and I want my Black Beauty Green Hornet car, my own.
You're
But
gonna need a big garage.
I'm gonna need a garage. Well, first, millions of dollars, so I can afford to have these. Yeah,
Yes,
I'd
that
love
too.
to. I mean, if you have, I think it will cost you 200,000. You can get your own custom, or you can get your own Batmobile.
And the intercom recognizes the car is unauthorized, so
Yeah, they
or
gotta
somebody at the intercom.
they gotta go fast, Jill.
Yeah, they gotta make a dash. They
Make
rush
a
to the
dash.
spaceship and they get it ready to take off. And so they have to
Yay!
knock aside any guards that get in their way. So all these security guards get smashed, get hit, kicked. They can take off as quick as they can, and they make it to space.
And there we are with some more footage from Forbidden Planet.
And the inside of the ship has Forbidden Planet things
Yeah,
too. The
there's
navigation.
the navigation sphere, and then of course the power panel, indicator panel from the Krell laboratory that
Yeah,
Morbius.
that's what's weird because that's not supposed to be
Yeah, it's
inside
like,
the
wait a
ship.
minute, that's but it's all from Forbidden Planet.
Yes. And
And I think one of our two books mentions that the indicator dial it emulates the Paramount logo, but it's not a Paramount movie. It's an MGM movie. So it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I think they're stretching it there.
yeah, that's strange. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like saying the indicator lights are Pac-Man.
Yeah. That's right. Wampa wampa
So
wampa
so
wampa
so
wampa
this is
wampa.
where this is where we this is the reveal that they're headed to Earth and they were the aliens that were about to
Yeah.
destroy themselves and they are going to destroy themselves, but this family
They're
is
heading
making
to
it.
the third planet from the sun. I
Yeah.
think it's called Earth. No,
Hmm.
it's called Earth.
And so then we have the closing narration for our two families that are making it to Earth. And Tiger Stripes, could you read our closing narration?
Behind a tiny ship heading into space is a doomed planet on the verge of suicide. Ahead lies a place called Earth, the third planet from the sun. And for William Sturka and the men and women with him, it's the eve of the beginning in the Twilight Zone.
Very nice.
Hmm.
And
That's nice.
And
we
there's our planet, Jill, and Tiger Stripes.
I'm very excited that they depict it this way. And
Hmm.
because we don't actually have pictures like this from, NASA hasn't gone out to take pictures of Earth from orbit yet. And so
Yeah.
this is all imagination and it's beautiful.
The big blue marble.
Right. And directed by Richard L. Bear, so we get the credits.
Hmm.
Richard Matheson and all of our wonderful actors for this episode. Awesome.
Yeah, Fritz Weaver gets to play a good guy in this one, then a not so good guy in the next episode, the next Twilight Zone episode that he appears in from the second season.
Mhm. And of course, speaking of future episodes, we will read the previews for next week's story in just a bit. But first, I'm gonna check in with the chat and see what's going on here. Because
Yay.
we got once the story got going after we had our cake and our lemonade, I really needed to. I just had to finish the story. There's that point where you get the momentum and you wanna go through it. But I'm glad to see the Snortopoopas Q Burr is here. Hello.
Snorty, silly old bear.
Yes. Let's see who
He
else is
says
here.
Tiger Stripes, hello.
Oh,
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters. Gavin, you can waste time with your friends later.
Oh, okay. Is that Jody in this episode and Luke? That's a conversion of
Yeah,
teenagers who don't get to do what they want to do.
that's right. Yeah, that line we just drove that into the ground after we saw that movie. We do the whiny teenager from outer space, from a galaxy far, far away. A long
Yeah,
time.
Jody counts as a whiny
Yeah.
teenager from outer space.
Well,
She's
not
not actually whiny though.
not
She's
as
not
whiny as
like
Luke.
Luke is way whinier. James Caserta says, never understood this one and still don't. What don't you understand about it? We're here. Let's see if we can help you. Sigvaldison says that actor was with the mole on his cheek was in the episode obsolete as the chancellor and
Yeah,
judge.
the obsolete man as the chancellor. That's right. And of course, the actor who plays the title role is Burgess Meredith.
Gavin Blackburn says this is a great answer. They're using some kind of freaky alien miles. So
Good answer, Gavin. Excellent. Good thinking.
it's not our 11 million miles.
Yes, it's their 11 million miles.
Very good.
That is good.
Yeah.
For all we know, they could be all the way at Alpha Centauri or something. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and Klingons are from Uranus. Oh wait, or am I supposed to say Uranus? Yes.
And with this joke,
I'm
you
supposed
definitely say Uranus. Hey, maybe your anus, baby, not my anus.
He's a very, not only a silly bear, but a very naughty bear.
Yes. Funny how we got hung up on measurements. Always bothered me in Aliens when they said Nostromo and Rig was worth 50 million.
It's like, no, how about 500 million?
Well,
or 50 billion. It's more like
or 50 million Quatloos.
I bid 60 million Quatloos. The power of math.
Ooh.
There you go, Jill.
Oh
It's all
no,
relative.
that's the filth. We saved the filth for Fridays. Maybe they come from the undiscovered Planet X.
The one on the other side of the moon? Could be. The one we can't see?
The one on the other side of the sun.
Too much sugar.
Like in Journey to the Far Side of the Sun. Anyone seen that movie? Starring Roy Thinnis from the Invaders series.
How close do they get to the sun? That seems like a bad idea. I haven't seen it.
Journey to the Far Side of the Sun is a Jerry Anderson production. He's the one that did the Thunderbirds.
Super Marionation.
Yeah, Super Marionation with the Thunderbirds and my favorite Stingray. And then before either
Fireball
of those,
XL5
Fireball X. Yeah,
for the win.
Let me finish.
Nope, I have to say it. Fireball XL5 for the win.
Oh, is that your favorite? Of the
Continue.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, it concerns the discovery of a planet that's in orbit, the exact on the other side of the sun. We never see that planet because it's in a synchronous orbit. And Roy Thinnis is the astronaut that makes the journey to that other world. in this particular science fiction film. That's all I'll say.
Oh, neat.
No,
Okay.
no
Okay.
spoilers.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And James Considers says, my real name is Vortex.
I like Snorties about the no accounting for alien taste buds too. It's like chocolate cake and lemonade. my darling mother.
Mm-hmm. Does it go whir, whir, whir?
It does. It does go whir, whir, whir.
When does Leslie Nielsen step out and say, don't call me Shirley?
I think that's a different movie.
Yeah, Forbidden Planet and Alien combined. Airplane combined together.
Yeah.
Forbidden Airplane.
Forbidden Airplane. There you go.
Airplane Planet.
Yeah. Leslie Nelson. Yeah. C-57D. No bloody A, B, or C.
Well, there is a C. I guess that's the joke.
Well, that's after the 57. He's talking about what follows the 57. But yeah, there is a C in front of all that. But
it gets confusing. Oh.
Ooh, 52. Thank you for the year.
I knew somebody in the chat would know.
Yeah, 52 Buick's Riviera. There we go.
Ooh, I missed the Riviera.
Well, my book doesn't say what the model is or the year, which is frustrating, but it does talk about it being a customized Buick.
Well, it depends on whether or not they customize the fender skirts, because fender skirts are kind of unusual in cars.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I bet that would narrow it down if they were actually part of the design of the Buick Riviera.
And it's definitely a special made car. So I'm sure there's even more production notes on how that's created based on, like, if you look on why that car was created for a different movie or whatever, we'd probably learn more about the car. And Penny says, baby, finally asleep.
Don't wake the baby.
Hooray. Kevin Blackburn says, but what year is it on Earth? What if it's the 1800s? Oh yeah, how are they going to handle aliens from outer space arriving in the 1800s?
It actually would probably be easier to pass in the 1800s.
It's not the 1800s because they said they got radio waves, so it could be the 1800s still, but like really late 1800s.
Good
when
call.
was the first radio broadcast? No, not the 1800s. 1906 is the first radio broadcast. Wow, that's way later than I thought. No, maybe 1897. So it has to at least be 1897.
Yeah, Jill, I got a something to share. I got the 52 Buick Riviera Roadster.
There we go.
Wow. So that's gorgeous. It before the George Barris customization.
So it didn't need that much customization. He did something to the front end, I guess,
and
removed the grill, but the rest of it's pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful lines.
Yeah. So, what episode did you voted for The Four of Us Are Dying, Jill? Is that what you mentioned before?
Yes, how's the poll coming in?
Well, I would if I could. I would vote for that one if I could, but since I made the poll, I can't vote in the poll unless I got on my phone and voted that way.
Gotcha.
But
gotcha.
The poll is going. The poll is going, and The Four of Us Are Dying is in the lead with 15 votes. The Four of Us Are Dying has 60% versus Third from the Sun's 40%. But I don't like rating the episodes because I love them both. They're both
Yeah,
entertaining and
they're both
great.
good. They're they're not in my top tier of favorites, but they're both solid.
Yes, but I agree with you that the 4th of July is my preferred episode. In terms of, I enjoy the morality tale of it, and the acting and everything
Yeah.
is really engaging. And I think Tiger Stripes prefers the second one, so
Yeah.
that's really cool that we have a difference there.
We just need Scotty to
To put in his vote,
put in his vote.
I'll make him watch it later and tell me which
There you
one he likes
go.
better, and I'll add it to the comments later.
Yeah.
Or make him make a comment for me to help with engagement. He
Cool.
doesn't get to talk to us now because he's not here.
Yeah, where is
But
Scotty? Is he? I
he's
guess
doing something important. Yeah.
he's playing with his Bride of Frankenstein.
The wine is strong with the Skywalker. And Snartapoopus Cuber agrees with Tiger Stripes. I am a naughty bear.
You are very naughty.
You've been
Naughty
a
bear.
very naughty boy. Yeah, I agree with Gavin. It's a fun watch.
Journey to the Far Side of the Sun is well worth a watch. A very interesting movie. I'm intrigued just by the premise.
Mm-hmm. And I remember I had a science fiction book, a book.
Oh gosh.
I'm so sorry to interrupt your
No, go right ahead.
Let's talk about that in just a second. Watch your excess. Chocolate cake and lemonade sounds like a 50s euphemism for visiting the water closet.
Which in and of itself is a euphemism. That's one that you don't hear much anymore. Water closet, WC.
Yeah. Unless you have a boat, that's what you call it, on a boat.
Do you remember what you were going to say about your
I
literature?
had a book on science fiction films, and this particular author was saying that the miniature work on the film Journey to the Far Side of the Sun was superior to the model work was superior to the model work in 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. No freaking way. But it's good miniature work and model work, but it's doesn't surpass 2001. 1920?
Probably about first radio broadcasts. It's
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I found one that's 1897, but 1920 is a good answer too. It's probably a little later. It's probably 1960 in this episode, but
Speaking of radio, Tiger Stripes, did you ever have a crystal radio when you were growing up?
I think I found one in the lake house that I dragged home because it was such a beast. You know, it was wooden and beautiful. And I can remember Radio Shack having an entire wall of tubes. And even then, they would sell you a sticker set because it would numbered stickers, but there were two of each numbers because you were supposed to put one sticker on the back inside the radio where the tube came out, and then the other sticker on the tube so that you could bring it in and match it, and then know where to put it back again, which is as important as getting a new tube. But I never did any of that. But I was sort of fascinated. But no, I had transistor.
I had
radio.
Before I had a transistor radio. I inherited my older brother's little portable crystal radio, and had one earpiece and these little small alligator clamp that you would attach to something metal for your antenna, kind of your amplifier, I remember listening to our local rock station on this little crystal radio when I was like 5 years old, 5, 6 years old.
Mm,
I'm not
okay.
sure I know the difference between a crystal and a transistor then.
Yeah, the crystal radio, it's a very, not that I'm an expert, but it's a very simple, non-transistor, non-tube kind of thing that I had, and my older brother had. It was just this little plastic. Uh, it was a little bit bigger than a pack of cigarettes, uh, and it had a little slider that for the different channels, frequency, and you just pick up the AM stations. But
Is
yeah,
that
those.
something you could get in the back of a comic book?
Well, that is a good question. I'm not sure about that. I never saw one myself in the comics I collected, but yeah, these are the more elaborate crystal radios. But there's the one there with the alligator clamp right in the middle. If you go up just one, the one that's
So are
Wikipedia.
those cylinders wrapped with wire?
Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
Yeah, that's the one that, you know,
That that
I
one.
have a old memory of something like that being in the back of a comic book.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, the sort of thing
Yeah,
you could order.
that's similar, but mine, the one I had more of a space age kind of logo uh, on the front, and instead of a dial, it had a lever that you pulled up and down to tune in different channels. But I just got our local AM
It was all
station.
AM back then, really.
Well, we had an FM station as well in my hometown.
At some
Uh,
point, but
mhm. But back then, though, yeah, you got a good. Well, no, we did have FM back then because I remember my dad listening to some stuff on his stereo back way back. But yeah, I just listened to some good old rock and roll there on my
Very
little
neat. I
crystal.
never knew about the crystal radio.
Yeah,
Apparently, if you want to learn electronics, you can make a crystal radio and
yeah, they had
learn about
crystal
it that
radio
way.
sets that you could, these little kits that you could get. It was kind of a hobby shop kind of thing, more of elaborate type thing. But this thing was
Yeah,
just more
that could be fun.
more for children because it had a, you know, it was just, this red plastic, red and yellow plastic, and it was just kind of had
Yeah, just a
a
little
space age
toy radio.
design. It just seemed like something from the late 50s that my older brother had when he was
Hmm.
my age at that time.
Very cool.
But
I'm glad
but
to learn about that today.
he passed it down to me because he had a nice radio of his own. He had an older tube radio, and then of course my father made sure we all got our transistor radios later on.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
The Trek
that's a good
reviewer is
dad.
here. I'd like to say hello to the Trek reviewer. And I'm sure he's saying of the car, another beautiful beast.
Ah, yeah. What?
I don't know what that. I'm not sure what that means. DJ Play Nice says, when is when terrestrial radio was commercialized, 1920.
Ah,
Gotcha. Okay, that's what the 1920 was for. Thank you.
there we go.
That makes sense. So, yeah, I'd say it's at least 1920 when the aliens go to Earth. Probably 1960. Hello to DJ Knight. Welcome. We just finished reviewing the episodes, but we are going to tell you what we're going to review next time in just a minute. After I make sure that I've said hi to everyone, because I don't want to miss anybody.
Merchandising.
Is even older than radio. Oh, you'll vote too. Thank you, DJ Knight. Good to have engagement there. That's why the Buick introduced the 1958 Galaxy. That's a killer.
Hopefully not
And
literally.
Gorilla's Random Thought says, Kapla. I would tell
Kapla.
you to Jeep it down, but 12 other people started using it, and it takes the fun out of it. Well, you're telling me to Jeep it down. That's a whole different thing than keeping it down. I'm gonna have to figure out how to Jeep it down. Dick Valdison says Scotty was absorbed into the body Landrew due to his behavior in the last couple of streams. Well, no, his behavior was fine. It was just I don't want to talk poorly of other YouTubers on my channel. It's just something I don't want to do.
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Why give them the publicity?
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. If he's upset about him, you don't want to draw attention. Snartapoopus Cuber says, I think 1897 may have been wireless telegraphy radio, and 1920 would have been commercial voice radio. Yes, you're right. I should always trust DJ Play Nice to know his radio history. So that's why I previously just amended my guess of when aliens go to Earth as between 1920 and 1960. And I remember those crystal radio kits back in the day. Of course, it could be past 1960 because it is the Twilight Zone. It could be sometime in the far future. Who knows? Crystal radio kits are still a thing. Fun science project for sure. Says
Yep.
DJ Plains. I'm not calling Scotty. I don't know where he is. He's fine. He's doing okay, I'm sure. And I know there's snow out there, so I hope he's being safe. But that's all. I did a Bluetooth conversion on a 1960s Philco AM radio, another fun science project. Wow,
Ooh,
DJ
pictures
Plains.
or it didn't happen, as the kids say. I would love to see that. That's fascinating.
That is fascinating. I'd love to see pictures, video. I don't know. I don't know if you probably didn't take videos, but pictures would be great.
Yes, that's a viral video right there. That's too cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we our black and white TV was a Philco.
Fun fact, says Watcher X, Radio Shack sold crystal radio kits amongst others.
Yep.
You dead named me. Oh, because I called you Gorilla's Random Thoughts. I like Gorilla's Random Thoughts, Gorilla's Censored Thoughts. It was a cool name. I miss it. It's like when I called Jedi Bill, even though now he's not Jedi Bill. He is what? Outlaw
Bill, which it does not roll off the tongue the way Jedi Bill does.
I
don't
know, and
why.
I'm
It
sorry,
does not roll
Outlaw.
off the tongue. It's so hard to say.
And Outlaw Bill, if you were re-listening to it, I don't mean any offense by saying dead naming you.
Not on purpose, but
but you guys picked your names right. I liked your name.
You got them right at the beginning.
Yes.
Your first guess is always the best, as they say.
You're just joking around
about test.
Yeah. No, I know you're just joking. But it is true. I do have roles, and it is kind of funny to mention Landrew. I like it. And the Trek reviewer says, I guess you could say I grew up in radio because my mom ran 2 small radio stations for 20 years. Wow.
Wow,
That's
you
incredible.
literally grew up in radio. That's crazy. That's incredible.
It is.
Have either one of you been on the radio?
No.
My dad was on the radio once.
Actually,
I believe I've ever been on the radio.
Yeah.
No. Well, no.
Yeah.
I think I called in once. I've called in more than once to radio stations and been on the air. So technically that counts. It's not like being in the station.
Yeah, that technically that does count. I've actually been at a radio station, and not that I was running things, but I was with my good buddy who was running the local chapter of COOP, which was Citizens Opposed to the Offing of Peaks, referring to Twin Peaks. And I was in his hometown, and he needed to do a gig on the local radio station, and I was helping him out. So he actually got me on the air. We were conversing back and forth, and so that I actually got to be on the airwaves, which was a lot of fun.
I've never been on the radio. Now I kind of want to see what that's like. Snort a poop is
Snorting?
bird.
No, don't.
Don't.
I
Yeah.
was on the radio once, but it was really uncomfortable. The antenna was in a weird place. No, I like jokes like this because they're
Yeah.
I'm going to have to stop calling you silly old bear and start calling you dirty old bear.
Dirty
Is that
old
what you
bear,
want?
yeah.
Is that what you want?
Is that what you really want, Snortopoopas?
but he still keeps it veiled in innuendo, so
Yeah.
I think it's still funny.
That's true.
Yeah, getting back to radio just for a bit. My older brother preceded me on the radio. He was on he and some of in his group got to guest DJ for our local FM station, and I thought that was a lot of fun. My dad fired up the stereo so he could listen to my older brother and his stint as a DJ. And of course, the person that preceded my older brother doing the DJ bit was playing Mississippi Queen by Mountain, and my dad cranked his stereo so loud that it shook the house. And I'm like, what's Dad playing that rock music for? Because he doesn't like that stuff. But he was playing it really loud. And then my brother came on with something more soothing, which was the Moody Blues. But that's just a memory I've got where my dad rocked the house with Mississippi Queen.
I haven't been on an official radio, but isn't there a way that I could make my own radio station that can like broadcast to just, around my
You
house?
mean like we're doing right now?
Yeah, we could.
Well,
You could do a
that's one
pirate
example.
radio station.
Because
Now-
this pretty much goes worldwide, except for the
This-
countries where it's blocked.
Yeah,
True, that's true. So this YouTube channel is technically a kind of radio station, but I
Mhm.
mean like an actual broadcast to somebody's
Some people
car
do.
radio.
Some people. I know the Report of the Week actually does real radio shows, as well as all
Yeah.
of the other things that he does. He's a YouTuber who I really enjoy.
Mhm. But I went to a house during Christmas where you had to turn to a radio station, and there was a little light show that went along with the radio show that
Yeah,
they
that's
had,
cool.
and it really only broadcast around the house, like around 3 houses around it, and so you had to pull up close to the house to hear the special show.
Yes, you alerted me to that last Christmas, and my brother and I were driving around looking at Christmas lights on Christmas night, and somebody had a little sign in their yard, radio station number. I'm like, this is it. Now we can do this, and we did. It was a blast.
Nice. It happened.
I would never have
before
known
also.
if you hadn't talked about it.
They also did it during Halloween at a car wash.
Oh,
So you turned it to the radio station. It was
Yeah.
a spooky story, and you went through the
Yeah.
spooky car wash.
yeah.
Yeah, I
They
know that more recent drive-ins, when you go, don't have the speakers that hang on the side of the
Right.
car, but you have to tune the car radio
Yeah.
into the channel that they're broadcasting the audio for the film on. Although I don't think I've ever done that. I never went to one of those kind of drive-ins.
The FCC allows you to broadcast at 2 watts FM.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That helps.
Yeah. I speaking of the drive-in there, Tiger Stripes, the last few
KJIL.
KJIL. I'm gonna remember that if ever I put out a real radio broadcast, just to mess with people driving by my house. But I'd make sure it's something good if I did prank somebody, uh, listening to their favorite radio station and suddenly turns into me. So that was between 1993 and 2013. What's that? Let's see, where am I? Oh, FAL is here. Or I don't know if you want to be called Fall. Howdy, folks. Fleet Admiral Levi here. Just stopping by for a quick, just to say, great show. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, FAL. I appreciate that. Dirty old bear. he's
Oh
owning it.
no. And here you're embracing it, and I thought I was I thought I was wagging my finger at you, but he likes it.
Apparently. Oh, you got baseball size hail. Oh no.
Ooh.
That's not good. Didn't call in when the tornado went down. Yeesh, tornadoes and baseball size hail. I hope that's not right now. Is that happening right now, Gorilla? Are you okay? The Trek reviewer says, I was on the radio more than a few times in those years, but it was not cool because we had to run in whenever they went off air. Gorilla says highway and took out the laundromat. I was drunk sitting on the front porch for that one. Oh, you're definitely telling a story of some kind. But you survived it, so I'm happy about that.
Perhaps that's when he was on the radio.
Oh, maybe. Were you on the radio, Gorilla?
Talking about the tornado and the baseball size hail, maybe?
Could be. Dick Waldison says I expanded my musical tastes due to the manager there, albums and 8-track tapes. Whoa, that's a long time ago. Think we called them carts.
Yeah, they're the carts. When I was in radio workshop in college, it was an 8-track type cartridge, and we always had short audio bits like commercials, advertisements.
And the station jingle.
Yeah,
those
the
little
station. Yeah, the
bits
station
and
jingle.
pieces that you pop in.
Yeah,
here
and
there.
we also had a project. Each of us had to create our own 1-minute ad, and it was transcribed onto a cart. And of course,
Oh, neat.
what was the ad that I did? At that time, Sean Connery was rumored to be returning as James Bond in James Bond of the Secret Service. And so I pieced together audio bits from the Bond movies that I had recorded on cassette tape when they were shown on ABC, the Sunday night movie. And so I just taped some things together. And of course, I had all the Bond soundtracks, so I had the music.
Who encouraged you to make commercials? That's really great.
Yeah, that was Radio
So,
Workshop. Yeah, it was Radio Workshop class that I took in college. I
gotcha.
Yeah, telecommunicative arts. So I did radio, television, and film, all three. So as an undergraduate.
Nice. So that scene in WKRP where Bailey is editing they were doing a commercial too, weren't they?
Yeah.
What were they doing? And so you can do that.
Yeah, I used the reel to reel, the cart, and the I played stuff off of an LP when I did my radio show. We each had to do a radio show, a half-hour radio show, and that was our final project. And so I did that, and I used everything in the studio. So that was a lot of fun.
Very cool. That's awesome. Sunshine Ranger Donnie says hello to me, Stone Racket, Tiger Stripes, and all.
Donnie,
Yes.
Hope
Who knows
everyone.
everything about Power Rangers.
It's true, he does. I always think that every day is some kind of Power Ranger anniversary because of Johnny, but it's not today, or else he would have said so.
Yep.
Hope everyone is well this afternoon, or this morning in my case. I still plan to binge the original Twilight Zone on Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus, what's that?
The streaming service.
Yeah, I know.
I'm watching it on Freevee.
Yeah, Freevee.
Very
I'm
nice.
watching it on Blu-ray.
You can also watch it on archive.org. It's got all the episodes. Internet Archive.
That's kind of a
What?
secret place
Shh. Never mind. I didn't say that.
They don't observe copyright there.
Oh.
But yeah, Freevee has, I think they have every episode, don't they, Tiger Stripes?
As I think so.
Yeah.
They're all in order so far.
Because every time I go,
so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And of course they may trade it off while we're in the middle of this because that seems to be the way that sort of thing goes.
Yeah, Pluto TV also has Twilight Zone in case you need a backup.
The bear loves to subvert expectations.
You and the TV show.
Friendly reminder to never hit your grandma with the shovel. It leaves a bad impression on her mind. What?
Grandma.
Someone help. Says watch your ex. I don't know what this is.
What has the chat turned into? This is elder abuse. What the heck?
I don't know.
Feeling this is a song because there's little musical notes. It's
right.
Yeah, it
sort
has
of
to
like
be a song
along the lines of her also getting run over by a reindeer. But
dear,
I think there must be something there.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of too. Tiger Stripes is in terms of that kind of humor. Maybe Jill should review WKRP in Cincinnati next. I could, but it's difficult to review a comedy. I'd have to do it in batches.
Yeah, it's like what does WKRP have to do with science fiction or fantasy?
Oh, I do have one. Hold on.
I think a good comedy is a fantasy because life is tragic.
He's from Mars, officer. Whiskey does not affect alien beings.
Yeah, Tiger Stripes does have a point about comedy and fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a fun one to cover, though, if you're wanting to do that sometime down the road.
Yeah, I don't know. I did a birthday party stream about it. It is.
That was fun.
Something we can talk
about. That was a lot of fun.
It feels like something I'd just throw into a shore leave and have a party around it. It's -50 right now. Gorilla can relieve himself off the back steps and it would freeze midstream. Wow. Yeah, no, I can't doubt you on that because I've never been in such cold.
He's farther up north than I am, but yeah, it was -20 degrees Fahrenheit last night. Right now it's a balmy 5 degrees where I am.
They're called bumpers.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, bumpers.
The station identification, is that what a bumper is?
Oh, no, it's much warmer here. Much warmer. 65 Fahrenheit here.
But you're in Texas.
We're getting our cold weather this week too.
That's true. It'll be colder tomorrow.
And the next day, and the next day. But nothing like 25 below, no.
Yeah. Yeah, That's what you get. That's what you get when you live in Iowa. Get,
The ring.
Watcher X says, I believe Jill must be wearing a ring of DJ summoning, judging by the member videos. Yes, I got DJ Play Nice, and DJ Night here, just here in the chat right now, but there's also DJ Ronnie G. And who knows who else might be a DJ, but they just don't put it in their names. And apparently Stone Racket learned to be one. He could be a DJ if he wanted to.
Yeah, and same with my older brother, which he actually got to do it for real on KASI-FM radio.
Yeah, and obviously the Trek reviewer has experience also, so this is really cool learning about this. I think we had reel to reel, said Sigvaldson, but never used it. Twin turntables and a cart machine. Those were fun times.
Yep. Same here. We had the twin turntables and the cart machine.
Got 2 turntables and a microphone.
And we had twin reel-to-reel decks. So I said, well, I'm going to use these because nobody else is. So I'm going to use. And my intro music, I played off of my Goldfinger soundtrack. I used the John Barry music, the track that opens the movie proper with Entering Miami, and I use that for my theme music for my radio show.
Did you ever
Play Nice? It's only drudgery if you're not in the groove. If you're in, if you're in the flow, working can be kind of fun.
Yeah, DJ Play Nice doesn't have fond memories of editing, splicing tape.
Yeah,
just actual editing. Like I use this computer program to edit, but to actually have to sit there and cut things.
Yeah, I never I didn't splice audio tape, but I did hot splice 16 millimeter film when I was in class on film, which was taught in the journalism building, which is really odd that film production would be taught there. But anyway, our local film reviewer in the Ames Tribune newspaper, Tom Beal, he was my teacher for film production. So I thought that was a lot of fun. It's really interesting. But yeah, we used we would scrape each piece of film, would scrape the emulsion off where we wanted to hot splice it, and it was on the editing block. They actually heated up, and we used cement, this glue to actually glue each piece of film together. These different edited pieces of film. It's very, very tedious.
Mm-hmm.
And this was film that had already been recorded on?
Yeah, film that I had already shot.
Images, so it's not like splicing
Mm-hmm.
ends in order to make film to record on. Because I understand that some people did that.
Yeah,
it was economical.
Yeah, it was film I had already shot with these spring-driven Bell and Howell cameras that they used in World War II. Those things were really sturdy, though. Those things could take a lot of punishment. But yeah, I used mostly Tri-X film, but I went with some Plus X because I wanted a less grainier image, but you need a heck of a lot of light with that type of film. But
I'm forgetting Deej Odyssey. I'm so sorry, Deej. Oh, thank you so much, Gorilla, for reminding me. DJ Odyssey.
Oh, DJ Odyssey, yeah.
Yeah. When the man with the bunny suit and the dinosaur costume, and he's a farmer. He does cool stuff. So thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah, we used the film we used had a magnetic stripe for the soundtrack, and the projector that our teacher used for the classroom, you could patch in audio, an outside audio source, and you play your movie through the projector, and that's how you recorded the soundtrack, which is really interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot of technical work in that. Very hands-on kind of thing.
Yeah, and of course, this is when I was going to Iowa State University, and when I got to the University of Iowa, I wanted to go into their film production, and the professor that ran that completely disregarded all of my work with 16 millimeter film, and he just said, "No, if you take film production, you're gonna have to start with Super 8." So I just said, "No, forget it." And I found out later that he had a extreme prejudice against anyone coming from Iowa State University.
You
So
should have appealed that.
I
Of
really
course,
wish
when
I
you're a
had.
kid, you don't know that you can do that. But
Yeah.
everybody, anytime somebody tells you no, you find the next level up and appeal. Don't let them push you back.
I really wish I had. I wish I had, because for me, going back to Super 8 was several steps backwards, and he had no respect for Iowa State or their film production at all, which was, but that was all right. I pursued other avenues there.
Well, I'm glad you found something, but yeah, that is a real shame that he cut you off like that.
Yeah,
But I think I'm going to end the poll, and I'm going to share with everyone the previews for next week's story right now. Ending the poll. So we've got The Four of Us Are Dying wins at 52%. Over Third from the Sun, 47%. Although,
it's pretty close.
That's pretty darn close, though. Yeah.
The margin was a lot bigger earlier, so now they converged a little better.
Yeah, it was really huge when I voted. It was 100%.
You were the first.
Because I was the only one that had voted at that time. But yeah, that's preview. Good. It's good that they evened up, though. That's nice.
Oh yes, I was surprised. That's nice. The preview for next week's story. There's a Longfellow poem. I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth, I know not where. In our story next week, we shoot a spaceship into the air, and where it fell, only you and I will know. Starring will be Mr. Dewey Martin and Mr. Edward Binns. Next week, we promise you a most exciting journey into space. Don't miss the takeoff. Then also next week, next week, you'll drive with Miss Inger Stevens, who starts out on what begins as a vacation and ends as a desperate flight. She begins her trip next week on the Twilight Zone. And you'll be with her when she meets the hitchhiker. We hope you'll be alongside. And so those are the promos for both of those episodes. And I didn't forget the poll. My notes tell me don't forget it. So if I had, I would have been reminded right there. And I'd like to say hello to Lance, popping in to say hi and to give a like. Thank you. I appreciate that. Any engagement, any likes. If anybody out there enjoyed us talking about the Twilight Zone, but you haven't yet subscribed, I would appreciate that too. That is really helpful. Doesn't cost anything. Hopefully you enjoy my channel, and I've got lots of other fun stuff going on.
All kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah. DJ Play Nice says the U of I film department is great. I was at uni a few years and always went down for the festivals, especially the Student Film Fest.
Yeah. Uni is University of Northern Iowa. But yeah, Yeah, U of I, great film department, but not for me when I when I came down here in '84.
Yeah.
As far as the film production, but I went into
Yeah, it's
film
really cool.
studies and had a lot of fun
It definitely
there.
does. It definitely does sound like you're really passionate about all the fun stuff you learned. So thanks for sharing some of that with us today as we round out this live stream about the Twilight Zone
And radio and film. Oh, sorry.
and radio, the Twilight Zone, and then a foray into radio. Simply
And,
because and I
yeah.
love the rabbit holes we get into simply because the aliens had heard Earth radio. And so that's
Yeah,
how we got on the
that
topic of radio.
that started that rabbit hole that we went down, but
Oh,
that
so
was
many
fun.
members of the chat had radio experience. It was
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
fascinating.
which was fascinating. That's a lot of fun.
Living merry-go-round. Wow. Okay.
Stop the
The
merry-go-round. I
ring,
wanna
the
get off
ring.
the ring.
There's a ring on a merry-go-round as well,
Mhm.
or there used to
I
be.
always hear about
Not in
that,
my
but I
day, but
never
I
saw
heard
it.
about it, but I don't think I ever saw one. And I also heard that they were actually sewn on. You know, if you managed to snag it, you could win a prize. But they were pretty securely sewn on, and if you really tried for it, you'd be pulled off the horse and rip the whole canvas, and it would just be a mess. But some kids, you know, you tell them they're going to win a prize, they're going to win a prize.
So that's why they got rid of it. It was probably deadly.
I think so because it was
Oh my
ultimately a
god.
scam
Hopefully not
anyway.
deadly. Yeah. Oh, like
Yes,
Carney
like carny
kinda
games in general.
yeah,
Yeah.
shenanigans.
Yes. It's like, you know, pay $5 to win a $1 prize, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, and that tradition carries on when you go to a birthday party and they have an arcade and you play all these games and throw a bunch of money in machines and
And yet
yeah, and then
still, there's something about it that just, you know, speaks to the 8-year-old in my heart.
and
A prize, a prize.
yes, me too. It's so fun. And then I'm just like, oh, these prizes, these are
Yes.
not that great.
Yes, I could have spent the same amount of money, including shipping, and bought 100 of them on Temu. But a prize,
I
a
uh
prize.
I went to a Chuck E. Cheese and got you get these tickets when you are playing the different arcade games, and I turned in my tickets and I got a plush Chuck E. Cheese.
You had a lot of tickets.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a big item.
Yeah, he's
Were you saving them or did you win them all in one go?
I had gone up with my nieces and nephews and my brother-in-law a few times, and so I had some saved up. Uh, and so I still have I still have my Chuck E. Cheese packed away somewhere.
I always found Chuck E. Cheese vaguely disturbing. He looks a little more like a rat than a mouse,
Yes,
design-wise.
yes,
Oh,
He's a
because
little
he
you
had
haven't
unsettling.
you
because the
haven't seen
thing,
him recently. They kind of changed him to look
They
more
made him
like a
cuter.
mouse. Yeah,
yeah,
They
they
would
did.
have
because
to.
Tiger Stripes is right because I always said that, and it kind of upset some of my nieces. But I said, "But look at his tail; it's a fleshy tail. That's a rat." And but yeah, I also got a Chuck E. Cheese, a little plastic Chuck E. Cheese, and he's leaning on a baseball bat. And I had that propped up against my lunar lander that I got from the Franklin Mint, and that confused a lot of people. They were like, "What? What?" I said, "Well, it's a mouse on the moon. Get it? It's like,
Oh, so Chuck E. Cheese had an official species change
yeah,
um,
I guess
from
recently,
1977 to 1992. He was a rat, and then he was changed into a mouse in
yeah,
1993. But even when I
okay,
was a kid, he still looked like a rat. But I
yeah,
think more recently they made him look more mousy.
I assumed he was always supposed to be a mouse,
yeah."
but that the design was just off. Whoever designed him,
Yeah.
Rat came through for whatever reason. There's
Yeah.
sort of the longer nose and
Yeah. I
Chuck E.
think that
Cheese, I was forced to go there once. All I remember are loud kids, bad pizza, and a rat.
yeah, that's if you're really unlucky. There's a giant animatronic rat, which is the true stuff of nightmares. I mean, isn't that the Freddy's franchise is kind
yeah,
of based on
the
the
Freddy's, yeah.
pizza animatronic characters?
Yeah, Showbiz
Yes,
Pizza
they're
and
possessed with
Bowinkles,
yes.
yeah.
which I used to
Yeah.
go to because I was a massive Bowinkle fan.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
It didn't
What
last
do you
long. There was
what?
one of those Chuck E. Cheese like places called Bowinkles with all the Bowinkle characters and
No,
big
no
animatronic characters.
way.
Oh, yes way. Yes way. I
I
lived
love
close to it.
Rocky. When I was a kid, I would wake up
Yeah.
early in the morning to watch Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh, that stuff is
Yeah.
still
Yes.
hilarious. I really need to
It
own all
is.
of it and watch it all because it was really made for adults.
Yes.
Kids can get the obvious jokes, but most of it's all dad puns.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My
Yes.
father was that was the cartoon my father insisted we all watch.
My dad would
And
laugh at Bowinkle too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And my dad, he had uh he would start collecting the series when they were releasing it on VHS, but unfortunately he didn't get the DVDs. But
Mm.
yeah, but yeah,
I've
I've
got
got
the DVDs.
yeah, I have the DVDs too. But you know who owns Bullwinkle? Disney.
What?
Yeah, they own
Oh
the
no.
library, and it's like, well, let's put it on Blu-ray, but they'll just hold on to it like they're doing most of the Fox films. They just have these wonderful library, and they do absolutely squat with it.
Well, at least I have my DVDs. I'm happy with
Yeah,
those. They
yeah,
still look
I've
good, and
got
they're
all the
cartoons.
yeah, I've got all the DVDs too. Yeah,
Anyhow,
the
anyhow.
Showbiz Pizza animatronic band. Yeah, yeah, they had animatronics, but they didn't use them that much. Mostly, what I remember is the person that was in the Chuck E. Cheese costume that would run around. If you had a birthday, they'd run up to you and give you a big hug.
Yeah,
And
yeah, right,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
And
Oh my
and
gosh.
he yeah, he's there to get everybody excited
yeah,
and dancing.
run around. Of course, my my brother-in-law and my sister treated me to Chuck E. Cheese on my birthday, and that was that was bizarre. It's like, we're taking to a special place. I'm like, oh, and it's Chuck E. Cheese. I'm like,
Well,
okay.
haven't they heard of Dave and Buster's? That's the grown-up Chuck E. Cheese.
But yeah,
Anyway,
I
they
got
gave you free pizza, so
but there's
it's
free
fine.
pizza and got to play some games and
Did you go in the booth, the ticket booth that flies?
no, but I did get accosted by Chuck E. Cheese. So
Oh, nice.
it's his birthday. I'm like, oh no, here comes the rat.
Well, yeah, that's his job.
That's his
he's got his
job.
Especially
costume.
on your birthday.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I do
Let's see.
have to go. I
Oh
don't know how to.
no, you don't
I
have to
don't want
go.
to. I do
Yeah,
kind of.
we have to stop the stream.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we finished. We reviewed our Twilight Zone episodes. We found out why four of us are dying. Because that is a really intriguing title. How are four of us dying? It's because it's just all the same person.
Yeah.
Very, very cool episode. And I like Third from the Sun too. Very
Yeah, it was well put together, little production there, both of them.
mhm, definitely. I enjoyed them both, and I can't wait for next time. I have to go play. Yes, James Caserta says I have to go play. I also do have to pick up my children, and it'd be nice to have something to eat, right? Isn't it lunchtime? It's lunchtime
Oh
for
my
me
goodness, it's
anyway.
past
It's
lunchtime. I
past
gotta get
lunchtime.
something. I gotta get
Mhm,
something.
right.
I'm feeling faint, Jill.
Yeah, as fun as these are, I do have to be going.
Yeah.
But I
Thank you
appreciate
for
everyone who
hosting.
was here. Thank you, Tiger Stripes. Thank you, Stone Racket. You were incredible to talk to about regarding these episodes, and I can't wait to have more discussions about
Yes.
this. And we're gonna keep coming upon classic after classic at some point. And this is right now. I'm enjoying every single one I've seen.
Yes, indeed.
And Sigvaldison says, "Goodbye, panel and audience. Have a great rest of your day. Be safe out there. Thank you to the chat for providing such an incredible discussion that we we went into so many different topics thanks to you."
You too, Sigvaldison.
Jill doesn't need to be tipsy. No, I don't. Well,
Oh
especially in the
no.
daytime.
Yeah, she's got to pick up her kids. She can't be
Yeah.
tipsy.
Yeah, that would be a bad idea.
That would be very bad.
This afternoon marks 13 years since Power Rangers Super Samurai debuted on Nickelodeon. I told you every day is a Power Ranger.
Every day is a Power Rangers day.
Every
And Donnie
day.
knows them all.
He knows them all. And I have never
Oh my
watched
God.
any Power Ranger anything.
I did. I watched the original one when I was a kid. When I was 7, when I was in first grade, second grade, I watched Power Rangers. When they had their dinosaur machines, vehicles that all converged together into one big robot to fight all the kaiju.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That
that's
does
as
sound
far as
kind of
I got.
cool. Anything with dinosaurs gets my attention, but
I worked with a gal and her boyfriend, her partner, had been a Power Ranger at some point.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Neat. DJ Play Nice says, "Oh, y'all be safe, have fun, take care of your crew, and rock." And thank you to the chat. Thank you, DJ Play Nice, Centaur Ranger Donnie, Penny. Bye, y'all.
Penny.
Chow time. Yes.
Yeah.
I hope I made everybody sufficiently hungry. It's good. Get some food in you. James Caserta.
We are Jill. Okay.
Well, if
Well,
that's how you feel about it.
I don't know about you guys. I'm gonna run up to the food court at the mall here, and I'm gonna get some chocolate cake and lemonade.
Chocolate cake and lemonade.
Oh no.
No, actually, I think I'm gonna get a Charlie's sandwich, and they have a strawberry lemonade.
That's pretty tasty.
Yeah, really good.
Mm.
Has actual strawberries in it too.
Oh, that's great. I love when there's a drink and there's chunks of strawberries in it.
Yeah,
That makes
and
me
they've
happy.
got blueberry and peach. It's just delicious.
Yeah. Kind of stops up the straw sometimes, but I don't.
Yeah,
it's
that's a lot of fun trying to. It's like, oh, there's another chunk blocking my straw. What do I do?
And, thank you, Lance, for checking in, and thanks everyone. If I don't get to you, it's because I should have written your names down at the beginning. Thanks, Snortapoopus Cuber. Thank you, DJ Knight, DJ Play Nice, Gorillas, Censored Thoughts, the Trek reviewer. Great to see you too, and everyone else who was here. Fleet Admiral Levi, Watcher X. We had a lot of fun friends hanging out today. And
Yeah,
if I
it's always
missed
nice.
anybody, yeah, I just hate missing someone. Penny, of course.
Yeah, Penny was there from the get-go, like Matt G was.
Right, Matt G. I think just Matt G was just at the beginning.
Yeah, he was the first one
Yeah.
in the chat that I saw, and then Penny followed pretty quick.
Canadian Spider-Man dropped in too.
Oh, he did. Okay.
He did briefly.
The
John the Beagle
superhero
Dad. I
that we
actually
all
am
need.
making it all the way through the chat.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, we'll see you guys next time.
Okay.
On Friday, I'm going to have a very special show. I don't know how many of you are fans of Stargate, but I'm finally going to talk about Stargate. I can't wait. It's one of my favorite franchises. And I'm going to talk about the movie. And
Boy, I haven't I haven't seen. I only saw that once when it was first in the theaters. I don't remember too much about it.
Well, Stargate SG-1 is something that's very special to me. So starting this, it's been 3 years, and I really like Stargate. So this is something that's been a long time coming.
Okay.
So I'm going to enjoy it. Scotty finally said yes because he had a thing against it because the trailers, or because it uses the battle of, or the destruction of Praxis from Star Trek 6, and he had a whole big problem with that, but he's going to put that aside finally and watch Stargate.
Yeah.
So catch us on Friday for that, and
And that's the
Saturday.
initial movie.
Yes.
Oh, I
the
actually
very
saw
first
that in the
movie.
theater at the time. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's a
Did you
ripping
like it?
yarn.
It is. Good. So that'll be Friday. And on Saturday, I'm going to play Fallout. So that's going to be fun. The original Fallout. And maybe I might actually try to. There's a timer on Fallout. You have to get the water chip for your Volt, or they're going to all die. So I think I'm finally going to do that part of the game. And if I can do that, then there's no more timer, and I can just relax and play and do whatever I want. But for now, I hope you guys have a really wonderful rest of your Tuesday, a terrific Tuesday.
Yay. Yep. You
See you
too,
next
Jill,
time.
and Tiger Stripes. Have a
Bye.
great, terrific Tuesday and a wonderful rest of your week.
Learn all that is learnable.
And the ways our differences combine to create meaning and beauty.
It has always been easier to destroy than to create.
May we together become greater than the sum of both of us.
Well, now you have something new to think about. Carry on.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the things. Go outside. Get some food. It's like, it's a time of day where you live. Go do something. Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.
We don't have to be mean, because remember, no matter where you go, there you are.